Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Wednesday night. That means it is Xbox Nation time, and we are hyped and ready to go. This is going to either be one of the best fucking shows we've ever done, or it's going to be a complete train wreck. But I'm going to vote for the first one. It's going to be amazing because I've got some amazing people here. Mooch actually got in here on time, kind of. And what's up, Mooch? How you doing, man?
Buddy? Yes, no, good to be here. Sometimes a shotgun start is the best way to start. You know what I mean? You sit here in the pre-show, you get talking, you get into hot topics, you get a couple of your good one-liners out, and then you're flat the rest of the show. So I'm kind of glad I came in last minute, but it's going to be a good show, and I've got my defense case ready for you.
Oh yeah, I hear you, because there's going to be some interesting talks going on when it comes to this Bungie and Destiny 2 stuff. We got the man. He seems much less tired this week. Dealer, what's up, man?
Wow, you really misread me there, Miss Cleo. I am fucking exhausted. Oh man, I really destroyed side and rear delts yesterday. My arms feel like they're hanging on by the tendons, so it's not great. I'm doing horribly. I'm super tired, but I do have a little bit of never mind. So yeah, this is gonna be a good show, guys. Thanks for joining, and of course, yeah, let's get with it.
Yeah, well, to my credit, you sounded much more awake this week than last week because you were like, "Hey guys." Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, so at least we got that going for you. Even though you're tired or whatever, you're gonna put in a hell of an effort, I can tell. And we've got Hellhammer, the laziest member of the group. What's up?
I mean, I'm hardly even lazy.
And he's botting.
So lazy he can't even not bot.
Yes, he's botting all over the place. That's great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love it. We got Noof Nukem. What's up?
Oh, yeah, baby. We're ready to go. It's Wednesday, Xbox freaking Nation time. Can you smell what the X is cooking? Yeah, let's go.
Wow.
Hey.
Damn, Noof brought it right there, man. That's hella impressive.
It is.
Yeah, that's
the slack.
It is, man. That's great. And we actually got Rand Al Thor here guesting. What's up, Rand?
Well, I don't know if the mic works, so you're gonna have to tell me.
It's good.
It's a damn corporate slave. Well, I'm happy to be on Crapgamer's channel, Xbox Nation. You know who? Crapgamer. You know, I Crapgamer to BGSC last on Monday.
No.
That wasn't even my fault.
Big
that was
gamer, small cocks.
Yes, that was Xbot 448. That was his thing. I used his graphic. That's the last time I'll ever use his graphic. He passed the blame to Jay Williams, and we all know Jay Williams is the graphic god, so he ain't gonna do nothing like that. So firmly, it's Xbot's fault. So from now on, I'll just BGS. You would think thumbnail, right? We don't have one. We've got the BGSC one and this old one where Tim Dog looks like fucking who's that? Underdog. So, yeah, that's the only two that I have. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Hellhammer, did you get your mic fixed?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yes, good shit. Everybody's coming in loud and clear. Super excited. First off, I want to talk about no HDR support for Destiny 2 on Xbox One S or the X. Now, here's the thing. And I did a video about this earlier. They announced that they're going to do post-launch support for the vanilla PS4, for the PS4 Pro. They didn't mention the Xbox One S or the X. Previously, they had said, we're kind of interested in the X. Maybe we'll support it. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Who knows? You know, things happen. I don't know.
Fuck's an Xbox.
Yeah, Xbox X. What's that? I don't know. They don't pay our checks. That's Sony. This one's made out from Sony. So I don't. What's a Microsoft? You know, they act like they have Xbox amnesia, and that's a bit unfortunate. So yeah, I'm a bit pissed off about this. And at first, I was like, yeah, maybe I'll let it go. But then when you're looking into it, right, and that's an Activision deal, and that's Sony spends a lot of money on this marketing deal for Destiny specifically and Call of Duty specifically, a lot of money. And when you look at it, Call of Duty on the PS4 Pro has HDR, but no goddamn HDR on the Xbox One S. And they even patched older Call of Duties on the PS4 Pro with HDR and not on the S. So the S is perfectly capable of the HDR, but they're not allowing it. So this pisses me off beyond belief. I cannot believe this. I'm kind of livid about this. I fucking pre-ordered Destiny 2. They charged me for it. Now I'm like, do I even bother? Do I try to cancel this shit? Because as far as I'm concerned, man, look, it is wrong. 100%. I know what you're gonna say. Just let me vent for one second. It is 100% wrong for two ways. No matter what, even if they're like gonna do it later, How dare them let a fucking marketing agreement stop them from announcing the fucking feature? Like, this game is about to launch, and you can't announce that a feature is going to hit post-launch like the PS4? Not even taking the X into the argument, but how dare you not fucking announce that this thing is coming to the S at least? You know, that is unbelievable. Where do we as gamers say enough is enough, Sony? Stop with the bullshit. This is anti-consumer. This is anti-gamer. What are you doing? I understand timed content, right? Sure. Fucking scarves. Who gives a shit? But locking possibly 4K out from somebody, locking possibly HDR out from somebody, enough is enough is a fucking enough.
Well, listen, Crap, there's always a silver lining, right? And here's what the silver lining is. Let's just say everything you preached actually happens, okay, where we don't get the HDR and we don't get the 4K texture, which I don't think that'll happen. But in all honesty, if that happens, let me tell you something. Sometimes it's you win. What is it there? You win the battle and lose the war. Microsoft will buy every third-party exclusive out there to ensure that that never happens again. As far as marketing deal goes, excuse me, marketing deal. Let me correct myself.
They like waffles, Mooch.
So,
I'm not sure.
Well, that's true, but here's my thing. In all honesty, there's no way that's going to happen. So don't get me wrong. I don't blame you for taking that stance and making the rant. I stand behind you in what you said. Nothing is wrong in what you said. First of all, we're talking about Sony, one of the most devious, sly companies out there. The problem is the media's in their pocket. If Microsoft was doing any of this right now, the media would be like, I'm in an uproar. This is crazy. There'd be headline after headline after headline. Yeah. And you don't see anything. Everybody's just moved. Everyone's just swept it under the carpet. It's business as usual, everybody. Everybody calm down. Don't look here. Sony's fine. But realistically, here's the deal. They've got something in writing. They can't talk. And you're probably going, well, Mooch, how the hell do you know? Mike Ibarra said it without saying it. He said, we work with these people basically on a daily basis. He kind of even chuckled when he had his interview at Gamescom. And he said, when they're ready to announce and they're ready to talk about it, they will. Meaning, basically, we have no say at Microsoft because we don't have the marketing deal with this game. We can't talk for them, but we work with them daily. Basically, he said it's coming. So I'm here to tell you, don't worry about it. I'm also here to tell you that what Crap's concern is valid, because the fact that they can't put it in print, you can see Sony took another slimy, devious step into what they do. Same way they tried to patent Let's Play, right? Same way they tried to do these little things that no under the radar that are big acquisitions later on down the road. And this is another thing. Here's the X is coming out in November. Destiny is the only game that people may say, no, I'm going to stick to PS4 right now because I was going to get an X, but it's a 2-month jump, and I'd rather get the HDR and 4K stuff now instead of waiting for November. And I don't know if it's coming in November. It's just, it leaves a little uncertainty out there. Listen, I'm a New York Giants fan, and the media's out there right now saying Odell Beckham might not play week one. Of course he's playing week one. It's in Dallas on primetime, NBC, 8:30 in Dallas. Are you crazy? Of course he's going to be there. But they're keeping everybody hinged, so they're buying newspapers, buying more Sports Illustrated. This is the same thing Sony's doing. Sony's keeping this locked and keyed so that you Sony fans that are out there are like, well, I just can't take a chance like that. I have to have HDR. I just bought a TV. You know, so this is what's happening, guys. So it's all a game. If you bought it for Xbox, don't freak out. You're going to get it. It's just that Sony's being this. That's so Sony, right? It's just hashtag that's so Sony. But let me let the rest of the Dash get a chance to talk.
Who wants to jump in here? Come on, this has got to be.
Go ahead.
I'll jump in on this real fast.
Okay.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This was announced in a trailer that was put out by PlayStation, right?
And they also were reached out to by Polygon and several other sites.
Well, it doesn't make sense that they would announce any Xbox support in a PlayStation trailer. I think what's going to happen is that there'll be X support and afterwards, and it'll be even better than their Pro support. Yes. And they just don't want anybody to know about it yet. Right. But they'll talk about it when they're ready. You know, I mean, who knows? It may even go beyond 4K stuff and beyond HDR.
I agree.
Stuff that's even better, but they just are, you know, they signed the deal and they got to live up to that deal, you know. So, but I think
do you not find that if a deal was signed that prevents them from talking about something like that or announcing a feature that's bullshit?
I mean, if they signed a deal to prevent it from coming, period, then I agree with you. It's bullshit. But to sign the deal to not say it's coming, but coming day and date, like let's say this like comes day and date with the Pro and the PS4 version. Then the only thing you missed out on was the announcement. That's the only thing really Sony's paying for. Sony's paying for them not to talk about the Xbox version, right? And that's the whole kind of like the deal they got going on is everything promoted PlayStation. Right. So Sony doesn't want them talking about Xbox. I wouldn't be surprised that whenever this post-launch support comes is when it'll come to Xbox as well.
Well, what do you feel about the fact that there are Activision games like the past couple Call of Duties that support HDR on PS4 Pro, but not Xbox One S?
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
if it's coming for the X, which is what Rand just said, basically, it's coming for the S. There's no
addendum, but the HDR on Call of Duty.
Which Call of Duty has HDR? The last one?
Hold on, I'm looking it up right now. They patched it. Okay, HDR compatibility. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Let's see, Call of Duty games. Okay, they announced this in 2016. They said that, let's see here, Call of Duty games will support the Sony PlayStation 4 Pro superior graphics on the system and HDR. So Infinite Warfare as well as Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered have HDR, and they patched Call of Duty Black Ops 3 on the PS4 Pro, and this has not happened or on the Xbox One S. So yeah, Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3, and Modern Warfare Remastered are all HDR on the PS4 Pro and not on the Xbox One S. And that's unfortunate because the S was obviously announced prior to the PlayStation 4 Pro and was the first console to announce HDR support. And now we're seeing that they didn't get HDR, and nobody's really talking about this.
Listen, that is alarming. I mean, that's something worth what you're saying is worth.
I'm alarmed.
You're alarmed. Oh, you're definitely alarmed. But I mean, you know, your gift the other day was perfect. Crap. Then Call of Duty's chosen poorly because here's the problem: betting against X right now is not a good bet. Whenever anyone's in the stock market, okay, you basically want to buy when your stock is low. The X right now is low, but even though it's low, it is on the rise. Everybody knows, you're hearing developers coming out every day talking about how easy it is, how now the Windows 10 version or the PC version is going to be using similar, if not same code, on and on and on. We've all been through this, right? My point being is that it's not the time for a developer to stick their head in the sand and only stick with Sony, because I don't think Sony's going to prohibit them from putting HDR in. I don't think so. Now, if they don't want, the developers of Call of Duty don't want to do that, I will say this much. I'm buying Destiny because I am fully on board with that. Bungie will not. They will not. The same crap occurred at Destiny 1 when it was 900p, and then last minute they were like, the Xbox One's going to be 1080p as well. Bungie will not do that, okay? They will give Microsoft what the box can do, so I'm not worried about that. If Call of Duty goes that route, I'm very much looking forward to Call of Duty. I'm not going to buy it because, frankly, I will sound like everything you just said. I have a TV that's capable of HDR. I bought a system that's capable of HDR. So if you're not going to give it to me, well, then I'm not going to buy it. And let me tell you something. They're going to know that. They're going to know that their sales hurt. That's why I said this really won't happen. I understand it's not in print, but I think part of that print is contractual right now. And that'll all fade out after each of these games launches or we get a little closer.
Yeah. See, it's a tough situation because I know you're a big Destiny fan, Mooch, but for me personally, the fact, like, maybe, you know, like, do you not, do you cancel your pre-order? Like, what do you do? Is this, are these two games, see, unlike a game like Titanfall or, you know, Lawbreakers, these are two franchises that are probably, yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Lawbreakers is the game that got beat by Brink on Steam that went free to play, by the way. So, yeah,
Project Spark just blasted Pat.
Yes, congrats, Cliffy B. You chose poorly. But anyway, also but I think Call of Duty, right? The average nerd or gamer, like, excuse me, probably won't care, right? They're let me get the latest COD, you know. Right. Or let me get that Destiny. And that's unfortunate because the games are going to be very successful on the Xbox One as well, even with them cutting out content.
Right.
Like, and to me, that's a bit disappointing. Like,
I mean,
I'm kind of...
Go ahead.
And get your money back, dude. It's not worth playing with Mooch.
That's right. I got people invested in Destiny that I work with that I know.
got it because Mooch was like, hey, everybody's going to be playing that game. You should get it, buddy.
Dude, I like it. Listen, Destiny is not. I don't care. Listen, there's a lot of people. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about this. A lot of people are out there on their PCs and they're sending out pictures of their Destiny beta. They're like, oh, thank God, I finally get to witness this in 4K on 128 frames. Listen, stop it. Just stop it. That game is not a powerhouse or a glorified anything visually. It's Destiny. It's Destiny 1.5.
I bet the X could fucking play that game in 60 FPS if they wanted it to. I bet
absolutely.
it could.
Absolutely. But that's not where I'm going with this crap is the fact that HDR or the extra textures. Listen, Microsoft's already on record saying a 1080p game is going to look fucking stupendous. Okay, so if Bungie wants to be lazy and not give it to me on Destiny and I get 1080p, it's going to look glorious. My point is this. Destiny's more for, again, the gameplay and the hanging out with your friends. It's not about how beautiful this game is. Okay, the Assassin's Creed thing, how beautiful it's going to look. Star Wars, you guys are all psyched about Star Wars, and that's fine. I'm buying it too, but let's be honest. I'm buying it because it's going to be the best-looking game on the X this fall. Okay, hands down, the best-looking game. I am
Wolfenstein 2
or Forza. Well, Wolfenstein might too, but I still think Star Wars will kick that ass. My point is this: that game to me doesn't interest me at all. But people are buying it because it's going to look pretty. Destiny, you don't buy because it's pretty. Okay, you buy it because you like the monotony of MMO. If you don't like that, this game is not for you. Okay, so I mean that's the whole thing. So with Destiny, maybe not getting it personally. I'm a consumer, right? Capitalism works because I walk in, I put my money down, I get the product, I'm happy, the other person's happy, they got the money, everyone's happy, everyone worked out. Now, when you put your money down, you don't get what you wanted, okay? In the case of like a COD letting you down, that might be something. But Destiny, I'm putting my money down because I like the missions, I like the MMO style, I like the gear, I like the hunting, I like all that. That's why I'm buying it. So when someone says to me, well, Mooch, you must be appalled. Here's the thing. I'm disgusted. I'll be verbal about it. I think it's ridiculous. I also don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to get what Rand said. We're going to get all the 4K in the world we wanted. But nonetheless, that's not why you buy Destiny. So there's a bit of a loophole there.
You know, that's Destiny's greatest accomplishment is having the monotony of an MMO without being a fucking MMO.
Fact.
So fuck Destiny. If Bungie don't do this, then we're in problem. And right now, the nicest thing you can do and the best thing you can do, everyone listening that wants it, go and tweet at Bungie and say, hey, we want HDR support and an Xbox One X patch. And do it nicely. That's about all you can do right now. If they don't deliver, then there's, people are going to be pretty pissed off.
Yeah, but they're going to have people, like, look at Crap. Crap's like, well, I pre-ordered it, but I was hoping to get it. And by the time they would announce a patch or not announce a patch, well, your refund period is gone. So I mean, this is kind of like Destiny 2 months before.
I'm not saying get a refund. I mean, if you're gonna play the game, you're gonna play it anyway. Don't no pretending like you're gonna fucking refund shit when you're probably not.
Well, hold on.
You're not gonna like Destiny 2. It's the same thing. It's a $60 expansion.
Same fucking shit.
It is.
Well, here's the thing though. I got it again. Like Mooch sold me on it, kind of like how I sold him a Modern Warfare remaster. I was just like, he was like, yeah, man, everybody's gonna be playing it. You should get
Modern
it.
Warfare remaster is a good game, dude. Destiny's not.
I know. Well, here's the thing. I was not a fan.
That's true.
The problem that I had with Destiny
6s
was
and 7s all day.
I played Destiny when it released, right? I played it when it released before the strikes or any of that stuff even was released. I was like, there's no story to this. I think Destiny 2 is going to have a bit of a better story, and I actually have more gamer people to play with in terms of doing those kind of things. So I thought maybe I'll have more fun with it. It's not a big, like $60 I invested. Oh well, if it sucks, it sucks. But at this particular juncture, I'm at the point where I don't like being treated like a second-class citizen. Like, and I would say the same thing for Xbox. Fuck any kind of deals that are gonna hold features off of a particular platform. Like look, HDR is confirmed on Assassin's Creed on PS4. HDR is confirmed on the games on Shadow of War on the PS4. Those marketing deals aren't preventing them from saying that.
That's because if you actually go to Ubisoft right now, they have one of the big Phil Spencer Unity candles lit.
They're like Xbone X, right?
Right. on the main stage at E3. Listen, the problem is crap is it's Xbox's mantra, and Sony has a different style. They're dirty, and people don't like that. They're like, Mooch, there you go again, you fanboy. No, I'm not fanboying. You guys are the ones that always say pro gamer, pro this, right? If you're pro gamer, then you're right, crap. But the thing is,
they just doing what you would do, Mooch, if you were Sony.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, there we go. End of discussion.
Yeah. But I'm not saying what they did was wrong.
Don't say a fucking thing about the other version. We paid you a lot of money, and we did it for a reason.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, though. It's not about Mooch. This isn't the Mooch gaming industry. Okay, this is the gaming industry. All you guys are walking around with peace symbols and like candles. I'm not. What I'm trying to say to you is this. Like, people are saying that's not right. That's not fair. Why withhold things from us? But then when Sony does it, everyone's okay with it.
I think that there's still plenty of time before the X releases. There's a couple months. And I wouldn't freak the fuck out over some shit that like this, especially.
Well,
so
that's what
you're going to get support on this thing. You know, if you don't, there'll be hell to pay. There's a lot of Sony guys even buying the X, believe it or not, obviously, from the pre-orders. Yeah. And, you know, those guys will be pissed as well. So,
hey, look, I'm hoping that it gets support, but the fact that HDR isn't on the Call of Duty games either makes me think that there's a possibility.
Remember too, they're patching those. They're patching it through HDMI 1.4 or some shit through that little gimped low bandwidth version of HDMI, right?
Yeah.
Where 2.2 has the full bandwidth and is capable of 4K resolution. There's probably some super easy way to do that. Whereas if you were to bring it to like the S or something, you would have to implement it differently. I don't know the specifics, but you know, obviously nobody got pissed off about it when but they probably should really. If
I did, I was like, what the hell? Like, why are I did a video about it. I was like, why are games getting announced for the PS4? Even the vanilla has HDR game support, but yet the Xbox One S, which was the first console announced to have HDR, gets like left out in the cold. The only games that were really HDR were first party stuff for the most part. Now, of course, the X is getting HDR support, but to me, it was just really a shame.
You know,
like, new.
HDR or no HDR crap.
Yeah,
I would take those graphical enhancements over HDR any day anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm just saying there is at least you still get something in the X, even worst case scenario with no HDR.
Yeah, if they choose to, if they do decide to do a 4K update, they might just go meh.
Yeah.
New.
Well, you know, I can see both sides of the story here, guys. I mean, you know, I understand what like Moo just saying, what dealers just said. Like, you know, it's not time to, you know, to jump off a cliff here. You know, it's but you know, as they say, fool me once, fool me twice, third time, shame on me. Is that how it goes? I mean, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I understand why they're not playing up the Xbox versions because simply and technically they're more or less bound not to say anything due to whatever type of stipulations they have in their contractual obligations with, and again, it's Activision. I know lots of people pointing the finger at Bungie, but I don't think Bungie has as much to do with any of this crap as the actual publisher and their deal with Sony and whatever marketing agreements they may have in place. So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I've got my Destiny 2 pre-ordered. I'm kind of excited about the campaign, and I really did enjoy the last game. I can't lie about that. So I'm excited to get, you know, to play this with my friends, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because obviously the game also is coming out, almost 2 months ahead of the Xbox One X, so there's plenty of time to implement features and things by the time the X launches, and by then the dust will have settled. Right. People who want to buy it for the PlayStation, they're going to buy it for PlayStation, and those who might be holding out, well, let me tell you, it might be worthwhile holding out because I still think we're ultimately going to get the better version. I really don't know what's going to happen with Call of Duty as so much. That game seems to be a little more under the radar at the moment, but let's hope that it gets the HDR implementation at some point in time. Well, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt here. And yeah,
you don't even have to do that, Noof. Here's the thing: all these games are coming out this fall. All these games, right? Assassin's Creed, Wolfenstein, The Evil Within 2. There's all these games coming out. And you're going to tell me that Call of Duty's going to go and be a renegade and not give the X the update? Like, it doesn't make sense. They would look so bad, okay? Yeah. You have to look at it from the outside looking. That's what I was going to say, like, before, you know, Crap hit me with a couple hypothetical questions. Like, Mooch, let's just say it's a Sunday. You're standing on one foot. And there's only one game in your house. Are you going to play Destiny or not? No, yeah, I'm going to play Destiny. But my point is like, what I'm saying is we kind of make this shit up, right? The Xbox community is very good. We're all like the next J.K. Rowlings in this goddamn community. Let's just say one day, okay? Let's not say one day. Let's just relax. Look at Call of Duty will look awful if it releases around all of those games. Shadow of War, 4K native, Unbelievable. It's going to be the best looking game since sliced bread. You've got all these games coming out. Star Wars, you're going to see your own reflection off the marble in one of the empires. Okay, you're going to see all this shit. All of a sudden, Call of Duty's going to be grainy and texture. No, listen, they just can't do it, or they made a deal. There's a handshake and a couple extra million in a fucking white envelope.
Handshake and a jerk off or something, man.
I mean,
look,
there's obviously going to be a patch for both of the games, but I mean, I think that at the end of the day, though, I think that Call of Duty probably could get away with not releasing a patch for the.
I don't think so.
Oh yeah,
I think with the earlier CODs like last year, you got to remember that was kind of HDR wasn't really all that common on really either platform. It started rolling in later.
Yeah,
it's true.
This year, it's really built into a lot of these renderers. So Ubisoft and all this stuff, it's built into the game engines more now. So I think you're just going to see it. It's going to be more of an automatic thing. There's not really the work that you probably think there is for it to be a thing, you know?
Oh yeah, I'm just saying. I still feel that if Call of Duty decided to do that, they could easily not do it because people would still buy it. It doesn't matter what they come out with. The Call of Duty game's gonna sell.
I don't know if Activision have noticed, but they can't really afford the negative press with Call of Duty again. You know.
Well, I hope that they don't do that. But if you look at the site or whatever, it just says that the PS4 Pro gets the HDR support. Somebody linked it to me earlier. So no mention of that on Xbox. I just think that either way, no matter what anybody okay, I can relax, calm down, crap. It's gonna be all right. But the problem is that the S supports HDR too. So with that already being out, and this game, Destiny 2, and specifically releasing on Tuesday, that they could say, because it's not going to be day one on PS4 either, the HDR. So I don't just say, hey, all the platforms that support HDR are going to have HDR support patched in post-launch. Why not just say it that way? But they're specifically like PS4 Vanilla, PS4 Pro are getting HDR support, and the PC.
Have they even mentioned the word Xbox in any release
they don't
about
mention
Destiny or
Xbox
COD?
Who? Dude, Will Smith.
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of a good sign, though, because it's not just because there's no HDR coming. They just haven't mentioned Xbox.
Yeah, Will Smith went up into their shit, man, with that little dildo thing and was like, Flash, and now they're like, Xbox who? You know what I mean? It's like it's ridiculous, man. It doesn't exist. Hey, we got a lot of people watching already, over 800. Hit the like button. I really appreciate it. This is just one of those things to just, and I don't know. Who do you get mad at this particular point? Do you get mad at Activision? Do you get mad at Bungie? I'd probably Activision.
Mad until something bad happens, and so far nothing anti-consumer has happened. But really, until the patch comes out on one and not the other one, I'm not gonna. That's how I am.
Like with the previous. But if that does happen, and where we
then it's like, okay, get out the boots.
Yeah, get them out, man. Get out the fucking pitchforks, because shit is going down at that particular point. You know what I mean? For me personally, this is stuff that annoys me. But go ahead, Rand.
I was just saying, do you get mad at Microsoft for not doing the deal?
Yeah, I've been mad at Microsoft for not dealing. I watched Kind of Funny Games. They had Ryan McCaffrey on there the other day, and he did a state of Xbox thing. And he changes his tunes kind of like the wind blows, So he was like, I'm not getting an X because I don't have a 4K TV and blah blah blah. And then later on Twitter,
there's probably a 4K TV built into the fucking Tesla.
Probably. But what's funny is later on that day he tweeted out, "Oh, great deals on 4K TVs. I'm gonna have to get one." And then somebody's like, "That means you'll get the X." He's like, "Yeah." So the funny thing is, he even brought up the lack of marketing deals. He made some good points, and then he makes really shitty points. One of the points he made was that Sony didn't get enough shit for having shit for exclusives for the first few years of the PS4, and Microsoft gets a ton of shit for it. And then he kind of damage controlled it and goes, well, but you're 4 years in, so Microsoft should be on all cylinders right now because Sony is, and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So, and you can maybe sort of agree with that, but Sony didn't have as big of a shakeup.
You can't agree with that because they're not on all cylinders. I mean, I'm sure people in the chat can tell us what games Sony have developed this year. And to me, it's Horizon Zero Dawn, and I know there's maybe
Knack
one or
Gran
two.
Turismo?
Knack 2, Gran Turismo, right?
Yeah, Knack 2.
I mean, so you've got that going against Halo Wars 2, which we're going off numbers here. Forza 7, Cuphead, whatever. It is an exclusive, but they didn't directly develop it.
Yeah.
And their other Super Lucky's Tale or whatever. So, I mean, a lot of it's third party, and I think people forget that, like Hellblade and all this other stuff people have been playing, right? Yeah. You also got the DLC. It's a good year for them, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. It's a better year for them than Xbox. But the bottom line is this is their worst year yet, and it still is kind of in the same vein when it comes to first party. Yeah. No, I don't think he's right on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, listen.
Well, hold on. Well, wait. Let me just go. Well, dealer makes a good point to defend them, but I actually think Ryan's point is. Well, I haven't said this in a long time. I actually think he did make a good point because here's the thing: Phil took over 3 years ago, right? So Phil's envisionment of what was going to happen. He's always very strict. I want games to come out in 2-3 years. I want like to be able to say that I'm sitting here and all of us on this panel, every one of us follows the news more than any casual. Nobody has any idea what's coming out past E3 next year. We have no idea.
Well, they started doing that a year ago, year and a half ago. They started doing that, so they do that intentionally.
Shannon Loftus, thank you very much.
But they're just going to have her come out with a different pair of glasses and be like, "This is amazing, Zoo Tycoon."
Here's Disneyland Adventures.
Hey, I know exactly what we're doing.
Last year's E3, we saw games that were coming the next year. We don't know what's coming out next year. Past E3, past June, we have no idea what's coming next fall.
It rhymes with Schmalo Schmix.
Well, that's fine.
More Horizon 4.
And that's fine. That's fine. But that's a crap gamer speculation. I didn't see crap gamer on the E3.
That's not speculation, man. Come on, dude.
No, that's clockwork. 3 years.
I don't think Halo's coming out.
2012, 2015, 2018.
But it doesn't matter. That fine. That's coming out. Great. But then what do people say on the internet all the time? Show me a link. Give me a link.
I mean, yes, but fuck.
There's no link. That's just you guys. I mean, that's Gears 18's coming out next year. Like, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that we don't know what's going on. And
what happened to the rest of the Gears ones, man?
What Ryan McCaffrey's talking about, though, guys, is that you guys are making up something. I can make something up.
I hear you.
My point is that I don't think he's really wrong. I don't think that they're prepared. And this is we're kind of bleeding into another category here, but this gets into where, Shannon took over for Phil's seat and we're seeing no production. Yeah. And does that mean nothing's coming? No, Aaron's come out and
said Zoo Tycoon, Mooch.
Right. There's Zoo Tycoon 2 in HD. But that's what I'm saying. And if that's Phil's idea also to not promote games unless they're coming out in 6 months, that's not a good idea. I get into conversations with people on Twitter all the time, and they're like, "But Mooch, Death Stranding, huh?" And I'm like, "Death Stranding's coming out in 10 years."
Yeah,
but people
they're showing games off a year though, not 6
right. But it provides hope. Okay, it provides the reason you're going to buy that machine, and you still have it in your home. It is what it is, and that's something that Microsoft. You're going to see next year. There's going to be a lot of flip flopping.
You're going to see a lot of Microsoft. To go back,
you see what they're setting up right now, don't you, Mooch?
What?
You see what they're doing right now, right? Because right now it's kind of been a pretty bad year, right? So, of course, to do what they want to do, they need a little more time. And so far, they've announced games that are coming and hitting before E3 27 or 2018, right?
That's right, yeah.
Next year, they're going to do the same thing. So there's not going to be no hope anymore because every single year you're getting games that are coming in that next 8-10 month time span, correct?
Listen, here's where I got to debunk your theory. We just had E3. They just told us Crackdown was coming out in November, and they delayed it. And this is a game that's been mentioned 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I say, though. We need more time because that's kind of a special case where it's been in development for 5 years. And even that's still coming in the time frame that I just told you about, 8 months after E3 that it was shown. So that's what I'm saying. You need another year to give them a chance to kind of get back on the treadmill, get things going, $1 billion in the pipeline.
Yeah, but that's what I'm afraid. Listen, the $1 billion in the pipeline's got me excited, but the $1 billion in the pipeline tells me I'll see you in 2019, Mooch. And that's a long time. You know what I mean? That's a long time to hold on. Don't get me wrong. Third-party games are going to multiplats are going to conquer all. We know that's where the money is, and that's why they're proud of their new box.
Well, they were making games before they invested that $1 billion. They didn't just not make games before they just announced
the games that are coming out next spring are games we heard about 2 E3s ago. This is not you can't be like your point holds water if all these games coming out next spring were mentioned this June.
That's what I say. You need another year for them to get into that rhythm where State of Decay was announced a year ago.
Games don't work like wedding cakes, dealer. You know what I mean? They can't just say next June these are going to come out. The delays, things slip.
Of course.
Right? So my point being is
you get what they're trying to do, right? You get what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I get what they're trying to do. It's terrible. What I'm saying is they need to do something else.
What they're trying to avoid though is the Crackdown situation happening 2 or 3 years from now with a different game. But I really believe that at this year's E3 in 2018, that they're going to unveil some stuff that's in the pipe, maybe some stuff we speculate is there, and maybe some other amazing stuff. And I think that when those games are announced, we're going to be a hell of a lot closer to seeing those games coming out now than we were with the last batch of games. Now, will there be delays? I think so, absolutely. But the other thing you got to remind yourself is a lot of the new games and stuff that's coming out for Xbox, they're being built on new engines as well. They're being sort of built from the ground up. It's not like the Call of Duty engine where it's been fucking done to death, so they just got to slap some new graphics.
They use a new engine every time. That's what Crapgamer tells me all the time when he tries to get me to play that shit. He's like, it's a whole new engine.
It is. Look, here's the thing, right? Like, people always harp on the Call of Duty engine. They completely updated that. You're like, if you go back and play on the 360, you can tell that those guys, they still have some core pieces of the
crap. Keyword.
Yeah, but same thing with like the Frostbite engine. I mean, Frostbite 3 has bits of Frostbite 1 in there.
That engine, the Frostbite 1's better than every Call of Duty variant put together.
I think Call of Duty in particular, like Infinite Warfare, looked really, really good. I thought graphically,
they basically said it was that engine with
some Call of Duty games. They look like fucking shit when you get up close because it's built on that old fucking engine. It's a modified engine, but it's the same old shit.
Well, they also put frame rate over everything else, and I think
they just keep slapping more shit on there like Marge Simpson's dress.
Yeah, I understand that, but look, here's the thing, right? Shannon Loftus and like Rand, you're a reasonable person. What do you feel about Shannon Loftus? Because I know,
you're a reasonable person.
I've always kind of been curious about what you think, because we've all made it perfectly clear that we think she's in over her head with what she announced, and like her Gamescom thing was just kind of funny to me. But what are your thoughts on her?
I honestly think she's doing the best she can with the cards she's been dealt.
That's kind of a jab at Phil, though.
So Rand's a fraud.
Phil is doing the best he can with the cards he's been dealt.
Oh my god!
In the department is Terry Myerson, and he should probably go.
Who's Terry?
Who's Terry Myerson?
Terry Myerson is Phil's boss.
Okay, so you're saying we should hashtag fire Terry Myerson?
I think that'd be a good idea.
It'd be great if they could just fire themselves at this point.
Yes, I mean,
there's the whole thing about marketing, and I think like Aaron does a good job when he actually has stuff to market.
True.
They don't have stuff to market, and like Shannon can only build the games she has if she has the money to build it. I just think the Xbox division in general is on a super tight leash, and that leash is controlled by Terry Myerson. They can only do so many things.
You notice these kiddie games coming out, though, Rand, right? And I think a lot of that. I want some more mature narrative-driven stories, right? Maybe in the third-person action-adventure vein, like Uncharted and things like that on Xbox. But you've got Shannon Loftus in charge, and she's kind of investing in these kind of kiddie-type games here lately. I mean, what do you think about that?
I mean, like Disneyland Adventures and stuff like that.
Well, just like.
Are we getting Connect? Are we getting Star Wars Connect retrofit for a controller?
I don't know. I don't think we're gonna. To be honest, I don't think we're gonna get much. I think I'm kind of with Mooch. Whatever they have signed for now, you're looking at 2019 and beyond, 2020. Like I think they're going to post on the X and the power of the multi-platforms for as long as they possibly can.
They got 3 in the beginning half of 2018. Then they're going to have Halo 6 later that year.
Supposed to be out in 2016.
Yeah, even better then. They'll definitely have to come out next year.
I'm still of the opinion Crackdown ain't coming out until November of next year. I think that's a full 1 year delay. And I think, if possible, that'll cover for Halo 6 getting delayed to 2019.
Yep. You think Halo's going to get a delay?
Told you. Hey, reasonable Rand and making sense move. Let me tell you right now, okay?
You do not make any fucking sense. Those games never fucking miss their launch dates. Never.
Halo is.
Let me guess. Forza Horizon 4 is going to miss its launch date too, right?
Listen. Forza is like the sun's coming up. Halo's not set to a date. Only you and Dealer think there's a date. There's no date.
No, I think we're actually in the majority when we
Halo the same year they've announced it. Crap. As far as I know, and they've always done it like the E3 before, like clockwork.
That's true.
I think like they'd come at E3, announce Halo 6, and literally be like, by the way, it's out in like 2 months. I mean, I would love for it to happen because there's no bigger Halo fan than me besides Xbot884245. But Halo's my favorite franchise. Part of me just wonders, is like, okay, they didn't unveil Halo, which would have gotten a big applause at E3. They could have shown off the X version and how great it looks. But they're like, no, we'll wait to show it to when it's ready. Okay, Gamescom goes by, not there. The next event is obviously going to be next E3. And what if they show it there, and then it's like, oh, 2019. And then what are you going to say? Well, that means Gears is 2020. Remember, there's this Halo VR game that's supposed to come out before Halo 6, supposedly. That VR game that they're making for
Windows.
I'm starting to see the Mooch and Rad side here for the Halo VR.
Hey now.
Gut. I just don't see Microsoft releasing 3 games before E3 next year. And I think the one game that's going to be odd man out, and I think is going to be Crackdown 3, and it's going to be a full year delay, and it'll come out in November of next year.
Wow.
Cover for
Interesting. Well, let me just say this about Halo real quick, right? I think Microsoft is doing they've readjusted completely. They're overreacting is what they're doing, right? They're gun shy. They're like, oh fuck, we announced Crackdown 3, we announced Phantom Dust, we announced Scalebound, we announced those games too goddamn early, right? Fable Legends 2. We've got this stigma on us now that we cancel these games. And if you look over, Sony's canceled games too. And then another point that Ryan McCaffrey made was Sony gets so much third-party exclusive support that when their first party fucks up, nobody notices or cares as much. Right, and that is 100% accurate. You know, their first party, Sony's first party came out with dicks so far this year, but Horizon Zero Dawn,
nothing but dicks.
Yeah, nothing but dicks, and everybody's fine with it. Even when look, Bloodborne, that's not a first party game, but still people loved it and it covered for them. This is the type of thing that happens with Sony. Microsoft doesn't really have that that margin for error. Like that's what he said. He said, yeah, exactly. They don't have that margin for error that Sony does because Sony has those third-party Japanese games and things like that. They had all those indies to cover their ass and things like that originally.
And the third-party deals.
Yeah. So for me personally, they could come out. Halo 6 could be next year. I fully think it'll be next year. If they don't put Halo 6 out next year, I don't even know what to think.
If you'd have put a gun to my head, Crap, I will say that I think Halo 6 is next year. But I'm not 100% confident. But if I had to bet, I would say next year.
It's all just opinions.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
and speaking of Bloodborne, I don't know if you saw this. Did you see Edge put it as their 5th best game of all time in the 2017 thing? You know what the number one best
Dark Souls 2 and 3 were right around it, right?
What was that?
You know what the number one best game of all time is according to Edge?
What?
Probably The Last of Us.
The new Legend of Zelda game.
Oh wow!
Breath of the Wild, huh? Hey, Noof, how'd that Breath of the Wild go for you, buddy?
Oh, I think he just drowned in the fucking lake again.
Runs out of stamina.
And Crap, I did want to mention. You know how Phil says like he doesn't like to show stuff too early.
Yeah.
I do kind of think that's not always 100% accurate because Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a 2019 game.
Yeah, see, I knew that too, right? Like that's the funny thing to me. Like I worry about the first party stuff like everybody else, right? And yeah, I'm not a big fan of Shannon because if you look at the shit that she's showing just anywhere, it's like hold on, who was that sent me? Somebody has been keeping me and Mooch abreast of things today, and he sent us this list. Okay, so their PAX lineup. Yeah. Zoo Tycoon, Rush, Disney Pixar Adventure, Disneyland Adventure, Super Lucky's Tale, Forza 7, Sea of Thieves, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. So those are good. But, I mean, for the most part, she's pushing these old Kinect games that have been retrofit to work on a controller. And then, like, she did this recent interview where she was talking about how they're more interested in doing these games that bring people together. And in the interview, she was asked if that means they're not going to do like single player stuff or story driven stuff, and she's like no, and she used Ori as an example, but Ori is a AA, You know, that's not a AAA game. She brings up that they like going after the smaller games, and brings up Recore and Ori. You know, saying that people can get these. She loves watching the reaction videos of people watching the Ori and the Will-o'-the-Wisp reveal because they're crying and so happy about it. But who the hell, Mooch? Were you crying at that fucking reveal?
Not unless I was chopping onions on the grill.
Okay.
No.
Dealer, were you crying at that reveal?
Yeah, but only because of what you just told me she said, and I went back in time.
Well, I mean, Rand, you love that game, but are you crying at the fucking reveal at Ori too?
Oh no, I not a single tear was shed.
Hellhammer, were you crying over Ori too?
No, only because they released another one because I thought the first one was good, but
Crap,
not great.
I got a question for Rand. Rand, do you know who it is at Microsoft that's responsible for locking down like third-party deals the way that Sony locked down Bloodborne and Hellblade and Nioh? And I know Hellblade's coming eventually, but you know what I'm talking about. Who's that person? Is that Shannon as well, or is there somebody else?
I honestly don't know. I know they have like
next, Rand.
Well, I didn't know if he knew because we had this conversation on a couple of podcasts and nobody knew who the third party. Like we knew the third party lockdown person back in the day was Adam Fatboy Boys for Sony before he got canned, and now we don't know. But whoever, even Adam Boys did a good job at what he did as far as that. If it was Shannon, that's my biggest gripe is if you're not going to have the money, like you said, if it is hashtag fire Terry, if that's the case, and Shannon only has certain funds. Then she can't like whip up a new first-party studio game. Go lock down a Hellblade. That's a cheaper third-party deal that's more realistic looking. Get it on your console.
She's just putting in money and time into these whimsical bullshit games.
Yeah. Listen, well, Rand, what did you think? And Dealer, by the way, 100% right. You're 100% right. I thought, Rand, just for speculation purposes, because the show's going off rails, but it's funny. I thought Mike Ibarra as president and Phil Back as head of first-party, second-party games is the best 1-2 combo punch at Xbox you could get. Do you agree with that, or do you have a better 1-2 punch?
I would love to see Phil in charge of the entertainment division, like Terry Myerson's job. I would love for Phil to get promoted and run all that stuff. And sure, why not have Mike Ibarra be the head of Xbox?
Mike as head, but that doesn't solve the problem that
Phil
left the game.
Problem with that.
We have a void there.
I think the problem is they're on a budget. Like it's profitability over all else, and that comes down from the CEO to the head of the division.
Isn't that every business?
Yeah,
others. But I think they're hamstrung by that. Like I know, like Dealer mentioned, we want Uncharted-like experiences, these huge $50 million, single-player story type games. But it doesn't seem that Microsoft is too keen on making those experiences. They'd rather let the third-party developers make it for them, while Microsoft focus on games as a service type stuff. I mean, we jumped on Phil months ago when he said, remember when he said Horizon Zero Dawn and Zelda had no impact and that single players don't have the same impact anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it kind of the same conversation we're almost having right now?
Yeah, but it's with
similar, yeah.
But it's with Shannon. Like I said, the problem that I have is like somebody messaged me on Facebook on the Crapgamer reviews one and actually made a good point. He's like, I'm in a business. What happens is when we do R&D for a new product, all the other budgets get slashed while we're R&Ding this, right? And until we actually get this thing out for sale and start seeing some returns, there is a drop in what we can spend. So I firmly believe that Xbox probably has that too. They R&D the S 1 year and then the X that we're getting this year, and so that obviously is going to cut back their budgets for everything else. And I understand that. The one thing that I don't understand is that Shannon Loftus is talking about how she loves seeing the reaction of people crying over this. That's not the Xbox's key demographic. The key demographic is us in this fucking podcast, and none of us cried. Noof, did you cry?
No, I think I sharded a little, but that's about as close as I got.
Exactly. So even though Ori's a great game,
who should replace who, right? Yeah. I don't think that any of these people should be replaced with any people mentioned, because if you talk to Phil, Mike, those guys, Phil's a cool guy, games on console a lot, but he primarily games on PC. Mike Ibarra games a lot, mostly on PC as well. And you need a real console guy to be the head of your console division.
I accept that responsibility. Hire me, Microsoft.
There'll be a Pringle inside of every Xbox.
Well, here's the thing, guys. The hardware is set. The hardware is set now. They can put that in the rearview mirror here in a couple of months, as long as the launch goes smooth, and they can try to basically fulfill as many Xbox One X orders as they can to customers. That's the first order business. Get this thing out the door. Make sure as many people that want it can actually get their hands on it. That is key number one. Then you focus back on the games, and I think beyond their jobs and the stuff that they do, one of the areas that they're failing in, that many people fail to mention, is down at the retail level. It's at the stores. Like, I can tell you, you know what? When I walk into the Microsoft store, they got shit set up real nice in there, okay? That store's, but that's a Microsoft store. But they need to start getting it at the local levels, the Walmarts, the EB Games, the GameStops, the mom and pop shops. Like, they need to be everywhere. Like, they need to get back into theaters, because one thing Sony does too, they're always up on the theater boards. I notice I walk into a Cineplex Odeon to sit down to a movie, and guess what I fucking see almost every time? A Sony commercial, Uncharted game, a PlayStation 4 Pro. There's always something right in people's face. And a good step is the Doritos and the other one that they did, the Taco Bell. So that's cool, but they got to get into the stores, and they got to set up some demos, and they really got to make an impact. And they need somebody as well on the ground level, or somebody to actually be in front of people besides Aaron Griever, someone that has a cockiness and say, you know what, dude, go to it. I want you to be cocky. I want you to be confident, and I want you to fucking sell this brand like it's your bitch, like it's WWE Attitude Era, man. Like, woo, you know what I mean? Play some SmackDown here, people.
Flair.
Yeah, I think that all that stuff's great. I think the problem with the theater stuff is that a lot of the theaters are using Sony screens and projectors. And so that's probably how they get away with.
I mean, they can market anything they want. It's just about.
Oh
money,
yeah, but I mean, but think of it this way, right? They're cutting deals for these people. Hey, we're cutting you deals, all our projectors and screens.
That's the kind of an advantage, though, as Noof was saying. If they replace the screens in like GameStops and all that, which they're supposedly doing, they're going to start demoing the X. No longer can you just ask, the most likely Sony GameStop employee, hey, what should I get? You can now go see the X and be like, holy shit, this looks way better than what I have. They're going to actually update that stuff, and that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they update everything. I just, for me personally, I think Shannon's doing a shit job. I think that they should increase. Or another good point that Ryan made that I want to bring up, because it's not all hate on the guy, but if you're not going to have a strong first-party lineup, have marketing deals. That's a must. You gotta push those marketing deals, because right now you've got probably the worst first party lineup in your history, even worse than some of Matrix. Like, somebody brought up 2012, but I was like, 2012 had Halo 4, Forza Horizon 1, and The Witcher 2. So that automatically is way better than anything we got this year. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, they've got to step their fucking game up and start appeasing some of the hardcore fans, not the people that are crying on the internet over Ori 2 being announced. Good game, fine, but I'm not crying. I'm the person they should be trying to appease. Here's
the thing, Crap. I mean, we can go round and round in a circle all day, but really where you got to kind of move on from this is right now Microsoft did something very big, very bold. That's the X, okay? And I'm not going to sell it small, okay? The X is big. We don't even know the true potential. We know that these games are going to be breathtaking, and that's a huge difference, okay? Don't worry about these couple of snapshots between, of Lara Croft between the PC, the Pro. It's all nonsense. As far as a console gamer is concerned, you're going to see a magnificent increase in your graphical capability in the next 2 months. But what Microsoft's doing while they buy time is they have about 1.5 years time here, because they are going to have the best looking multi-plats, and they're going to get all the advertising in the world from Digital Foundry. Listen, the Digital Foundry is already under attack. Okay, they're under attack from the parts of the media. The GAF people, everyone's just attacking Digital Foundry now, because Digital Foundry is only reporting the truth. And a lot of people always like, well, now the shoe's on the other foot. Aren't you guys, you guys are hypocrites? No, the reason we always got upset with Digital Foundry in the past was they would state their graphical, like,
analysis,
But then they would give a slight like jab to the Xbox at the end. They're like, yeah, we really don't think the Xbox. See, we're here. They say the Xbox version, the X is better, but they don't bash the PlayStation afterwards. You know,
and
so,
it's better in more ways. Like it's not just from 900 to 1080p. It's literally 1440 to 4K or stuff like that, plus graphical enhancements.
Yeah, plus your textures and lighting and shadows and all that kind of shit that they're putting on there too.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, Microsoft is doing their due diligence. So we wanted to have the better looking multiplats for a very long time now, for at least minimum 2 years, possibly up to 3 years. You're going to have the best looking multiplats on your system. And if Sony the fun conversation to really have is if the X does very well and Sony has to step on the gas for the PS5, Microsoft really did their homework. Because this machine's got a lot more power. I love when developers do this shit. They did the same thing when this generation started. They're doing it again here. Like, well, it looks like we've already topped out the X. Shut the fuck up. This guy's out of his mind. The people who say that, they don't know what they're talking about. There's always more juice to pull out of these boxes. This guy, I love when developers are like, which developer was it, Crap? You did a video on it like a week ago where somebody was like, we really worked hard to get everything out of the box already. How do you know, dude? The box isn't even really out yet.
Dan Greenwald said that about Forza 5 after it launched, So
yeah, and look at how wrong he was then.
Thing is, everything's x86. You don't have to rinse the juice out of the boxes like you used to, but there's so much power there now that it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So I mean, of course, you can get the most out of any box day one. Just raise it up to fucking 8K downsampled. And boom, it's impossible to do anymore. Yeah,
and I lost track of my point. My point being was if PS5 decides to step on the gas and come out in 2019, the X has enough juice in it to keep up with it. Because it's not like the PS5 that comes out in 2019 is going to be 8K. It's going to be 4K. And you can see developers right now are holding back for parity to a certain extent, right? That's why we all said it earlier today. We're like, why Destiny can be 60 frames? Of course it can be. But the point of the matter is they're not going to do that because they want to keep everything equal. So if the PS5 decides to bite the bullet and come out early, I don't think Microsoft has to do anything if they come out early. I do think if PS5 comes out on schedule, okay, like you guys always say, which I think is fall 2020, if they come out fall 2020, I think Microsoft has to launch fall 2020 with their Xbox, their successor.
And to your point, when it comes to Destiny, real quick, people say, what do you mean? They couldn't do it because it's a CPU issue and that they could never get up above 30. Well, on Rise of the Tomb Raider on the Pro, it was a CPU bottleneck in a lot of these areas, and it would drop down right below 50 frames. It'd be around 50 frames per second sometimes. And just from what they've seen already in Rise of the Tomb Raider and confirmed in their Tomb Raider video, Digital Foundry say it was completely locked. Right?
That's right.
So, I mean, obviously the CPU in the X is better. Like I told you guys it would be, right? It is better because you're not having that bottleneck like you did on the Pro.
I think the only way we see a PlayStation 5, though, before 2020, the only way we see it is if PlayStation sales really start to stagnate, and that goes from the base model to the PS4 Pro has already been kind of stagnant, but if the base model itself really starts to hit a bit of a slide and they see that momentum is carrying the Xbox One X, like, you know what I mean, like right along into next year, they might feel a little bit more of a rush to be the first to the market with the next hardware. But outside of that, I'd say they're in a comfortable position, and we'll just see where it goes.
They are in a very comfortable position. Again, that like they hold a lot of the cards. Like honestly, I know it's hard to admit that as an Xbox fan, but Microsoft is like, hey, we're not doing generations anymore. And the minute Sony's like, hey, well, we're doing a PS5 and you can only play these games on PS5, at that point they start they force a generation, and then a lot of people that really like looking at the new generations, like a lot of people just that term next generation really kind of makes people kind of gooey. They're like, oh man, I got to get that. So I honestly thought Microsoft could have forced a new generation themselves and just kept everything backwards compatible.
You said it yourself. PS5 is going to be 4K because 8K will not be mainstream for at least another 8 years probably. So they're going to still be doing 4K, and the only difference is they're going to have a Ryzen Core APU, right? Meaning many more games will be 60 frames plus maybe better graphics. Right. And what Microsoft are going to do is they're going to keep the X backward compatible at the minimal, I would say. And developers are going to be like, hey, you know what? That already has 20 million units out there. I'm much more likely to sell this game over there. They've already got the biggest install base. They got backwards compatibility. And if it works, it works, right? So I think that would be an advantage provided their API, which has generally been pretty good with scaling, you know, they'd be able to get the most out of the next Xbox after the X.
Right. Yeah.
I agree with that. Oh, this is something that I wanted to like. Rand is in here, so I wanted to get his opinion on this. So Microsoft compares the Xbox One X to high-end PC. Man, this is like causing a lot of controversy. I like it because I think it's cool that they get out there and go, hey, you know, this thing isn't really competing with the Pro. Although Greenberg kind of contradicted that by going, the Pro does great stuff, and I'm like, Aaron, what are you talking about, bitch? Get out there and start posting salt gifs and shit again, because nobody wants to see you be a pussy. You know, go out there and say, hey, man, they're salty. But anyway, so they are comparing it to a high-end PC. Obviously not like the $20,000 next-gen 720 PCs, but, you know, like the higher-end PC. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the whatever. Like, it's been compared to a $1,500 piece.
It's definitely beating out most people's $500 or $600 budget builds. So.
I'll tell you right now, it's not a fucking $1,500 PC, but you can't build a PC for $500 that'll compete with it or give you the same level of visuals. It's just, you know, honestly, on PC you can get a pre-built for like $730, $40 that has a 480, which is kind of close. It'll be a little weaker on the GPU side, but the CPU is an i5. And that's much better than the CPU in any console. And you'll be pretty close. You might have to go down to 1440 instead of 4K or whatever. But, you know, it's definitely not a $1,000, $1,500 console. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
Well, I think it also matters, though, with when you talk about the optimization and stuff like that, because like, a lot of the games coming out on the consoles are a lot better optimized than the equivalent on a PC. And all you have to do is look at the comparison that Digital Foundry did with Forza Motorsport 7, where the Xbox
No, that was
One...
a different anti-aliasing technique, AMD-specific technique that's more effective than FXAA on PC. That's all it was. It's got nothing to do with optimization.
Yeah.
It's using a different technique.
Listen, just real quick, and Dealer, you'll like this analogy, okay? BMW has their X5 series, right?
It's not a food analogy. That's
I'm going to cars. They have their X5, and then they have their M series, okay? And you can get in the X5, you can get everything the M series has. You get every single thing they have except for the engine. That's what the M series is. So when you have something like what Dealer just said, where they're, you know, the X is not a $1,500 PC, he's right. It's not a $1,500 PC. And the X5, but the X5 is not the M5. Now hear me out. The reason I say that is the M5 is way faster than the X5. However, there's things called speed limits. So even though the M5 can go from 0 to 60 in half the time that the X5 can, you can still have all the amenities that the M has, and you don't need that larger engine. My point here is, if I'm getting 4K 60 or 4K 30 in a lot of games, and that $1,500 PC can do more, but the developer's not really giving that much more out of the game, it's not worth the extra $1,000.
I mean,
that's why people don't drive
more
M's.
boost, but I got a better one for you. I got a better
one
for you.
But they aren't, though, Dealer, because if we're getting... Listen, Rise of the Tomb Raider, for an example, okay?
They're maximum settings out at around 1440p, but the thing is, on PC, you can do that at double the resolution and 60 frames per second, and PC guys will pay every dollar to get that. But my point is, and here's the best point.
Car guys will pay for the bigger engine. That's not the point.
Guys do not give a fuck about PC, so no one cares.
Right, and absolutely, but I'm trying to go dollar for dollar in a conversation.
I mean, what makes the most sense of the whole thing for dollar is basically that for $500 or even $600, you're not building a PC that could give you this same kind of performance. I mean,
the closest they can get is like 580 without a mouse and keyboard and a copy of Windows from a website that most people don't know
they're
about.
Like non-activation,
and that's 80 gigabytes short on memory bandwidth per second. You know, there's just a lot of caveats to that.
That's the end of the day, right? Like, you're not going to sit there and build this stuff. I mean, if you watch these people scramble around to build these cheap little computer builds, right? They don't have any. They're not including the keyboard, a mouse. They're not including any kind of controller with it. They're not including any kind of optical drive. Which, if you're really wanting to compete, again, like, I don't give a shit about optical drives.
The same capabilities, right?
Yeah. If you're wanting to compete, you got to have the same capabilities. So you got to have the wireless internet, which again, it's not expensive. But it still adds, $5-10 to your build costs.
They cut corners, and when you bring up 4K Blu-ray player, they're like, "Who wants a 4K Blu-ray player on their PC?" You know what I mean? But then they expect you to use your fucking PC and hook that thing up to your living room TV. You know what I mean? So
that's what they say. You can just plug it in like a console. What do you mean? Like the Xbox One S is driving the market when it comes to 4K Blu-ray, and it's doing that because people care.
You can well, I mean, you can hook it up to your TV and have that nice looking milk crate sit underneath your entertainment center.
Yeah, I mean that thing looks absolutely.
The dealer do-it-yourself PC kit comes with a milk crate and a carton of.
Oh yeah, by the way, those $580 bills with no mouse and keyboard, a copy of Windows they found on the website, most people wouldn't know about. Also, are not pre-built, so you're gonna have to build this yourself, which apparently everyone does. So, add another $100, $50 minimum to that for most people because you're going to have to pay to get it built. There's a reason the Alienware, CyberPower, Origin PC, they're all doing so well. And that's because people buy pre-builts most of the time for their first PC. I did it. I'm sure Hellhammer probably did it. I don't know. A lot of people do it. So,
I did. My first was an E-Machine. Booyah! Yeah. E-machines, bitch. You remember those?
My first gaming machine was built by myself, but my first overall, just computer was pre-built.
But yeah, you could go online and find tutorials and all that. But a lot of people, once again, do not care to build their own PC.
The day I come home to play a game and I'm like, damn, my water coolant fucking busted. I can't play.
Somebody showed a picture of an E-Machine's computer the other day, and it had a sticker on the front that said E-Machines is now future-proof. And then, of course, right underneath, you see the old floppy disk drive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fun, man. A lot of times, listen, the reason people go on vacation, what do you do when you go on vacation? You go somewhere where everything is done for you. You go out to eat. You go here and there. You get drinks served to you. That's console gaming, folks. When you come home, long day work, you plug this. When you take the X out of the box, it has a cord. You put a cord in the back, you plug it in the wall, and you hit start, and you play the game. Everyone else is like, I can't. You see these pictures? You see Terrible Tom from The Verge, Tom Warren? He's like, look, I got my components are all here. He's got a fucking 500 by 500 living room with components smeared all over the floor. Looks like a real fun fucking puzzle, Tommy boy. Enjoy your weekend. Meanwhile, I'm going to play a video game. Okay?
Well, let me just say this real quick, right?
This guy's got an erector set. Fuck out of here.
well, let me just say this. I don't care that they compared to that. To me, it's a vote of confidence for the a lot of people aren't really familiar with the stuff that Dealer and Hellhammers of the world know about. So to me, it's just a confidence thing that they're like, okay, we're really competing with this. Even the PS4 Pro, they're like, this is to compete against people going to PC.
And that's Sony said that.
Yeah, and I like that. I like the confidence from that. Like Rand, I know you made a video about it.
Yeah, people didn't seem to care for it that much, or some people.
I thought it was on point. I'd mentioned it.
So why don't you go ahead and share your point of view with us, Rand?
I just look. I kind of sat down and thought about it some more, and to me, it just seems like just pure marketing. It seems like an intentional indirect shot at PlayStation, because it's like, we're not going to compare it to the Pro, right? We're way beyond the Pro. We're comparing it to $2,000 gaming PCs. It's an indirect, basically, attack at PlayStation by saying their product isn't even worth the comparison. We're not going to stoop to that level to compare our new product to our competitions. So they go after the big dogs. But the problem is, who's that actually marketing to? You're not going to get high-end PC guys to buy the X because, like Dealer said before, and I said in my video, if you're getting a high-end gaming PC, you're getting everything. You will pay for it. The best resolution, the best frame rate. You are not going to get the X. So it's like, okay, well, that's not working on those people. So it's honestly, I think it's a direct shot at Sony, and it's to make Xbox fans feel better about their eventual purchase. That it's way beyond PlayStation, and we're going after the big dogs. Because to me, when you guys are talking about this $500 and $600 PC build, to me, a $500, $600 PC build is mid-range PC. That's not a high-end gaming PC. High-end gaming PC to me is $1,500 and more, and I mean, where do you see Destiny 2? Destiny 2 on PCs, native 4K 60 frames. Is it going to be native 4K 60 frames on the X? No. Well, I mean, the PC, or some PCs, I should say, because not all PCs are equal. The gaming PCs, the high-end gaming PCs, will outperform the Xbox One X every single time.
But they're also spending more money.
Those have 1080 Ti's and stuff, and a $700 GPU. Let me finish this thought real quick, because I do understand why they're comparing it to PC, and that's because Pro can't do a lot of what you're going to see on the X. When you see that differentiator in the comparison, it's something as simple as Laura's jacket, right? That's impossible to do on the Pro because you don't have the RAM. When you look at a picture of that versus let's say you took the Pro and you took that same picture and put it against the PC, you knew which one was PC because one had high resolution textures. The Pro doesn't have enough RAM to do so. Now, if you put the X versus the PC in that screenshot, they both look identical. And that's what I'm saying. They're going to try to say, hey, you know, this is more. We're comparing this to PC because the Pro, it's going to be really easy to kind of tell the difference in a lot of scenarios.
Right, and that's a direct shot at Sony by saying we're not even going to stoop to compare it, you know?
I don't even think it's even necessarily. I mean, I think that it's partially that as well, but it's also you see a lot of the PC people freaking out because they're losing, or potentially could lose people that are on those mid-range systems to jump ship, right? Because you're still got to,
man.
Yeah, you still got to, you end up. I mean, look, if I were to go and I had a mid-range build that was, you know, $400 or $500 or whatever, it was playing stuff okay, and then I have a choice between spending, you know, $400 or $500, $600 on another graphics card or even more, depending on how outdated my build is for CPU and all this other shit, or just going out and buying an X. I'm going to take the X every single day.
That was my comparison with the cars and the engine. What I'm trying to say is you take a game like Path of Exiles. It's 4K 60, PC, and Xbox One X. So my point is yes, no doubt your PC is more powerful, but at $1,500, if it's 4K 60, it's 4K 60. It's not 4K 60er. You know, I mean, like, I don't know why that, and that's what we're going to start to get to as you go down the line. And then the money doesn't outweigh the means of the product. So,
what happens is a lot of the people on the PC side, the people who actually build like a legitimate game.
I have friends that have a $3,500 PC at work. I know, but
yeah, they're built this to hit more above the 4K and 60. They're hitting 4K, you know, 75 plus frames per second.
That's like if you're in baseball, you hit a fucking ground ball single and you overrun first, you run right through the fucking outfield to your house. You don't need to do that. It's ridiculous.
But that's how some people see it. It's also not only just that. You're also
look,
higher texture frame rates.
I can't argue with you. I can't argue with you, dealer. There, you're 100% right. That is why people do that. That is why I know. But I mean, at the same time, majority of these games are being the threshold is 4K 60. So if Xbox One X is giving me half my games now at 4K 60, the other at 4K 30, I'm fucking happy. I mean, and again, I don't have to. There's two things.
And
it's not the money.
You
but we're not talking. But it's not the money.
You should be.
It's not just the money. It's the simplicity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust me, we get exactly. I've been been fighting this bullshit for years, just like you, right? I'm a console dude. I got a PC. I use it 0.1% of the time, and people know that because they see me on Xbox every single day, every single night, right?
Yep.
So I'm right there with you. But I'm just saying I understand the other perspective.
I do
but ultimately, it's one of those things that if you're a console guy like I am, who gives a shit? You prefer to play on console now? You're definitely gonna prefer to be on console in 2 months.
My take on the whole thing with what Rand's video was, I liked Rand's perspective on it and how he looked at it as actually it was a backhanded insult to Sony, which he's right. But the way I looked at it was I kind of blame Microsoft. The reason the PC guys even show up to these conversations now is because Microsoft has been making these ridiculous analogies. Like console is console and PC is PC. The fact that these worlds have collided, I blame Microsoft. But don't forget that's Microsoft's intent. They want this to happen.
Well, the PC Master Race thing has been a thing for years. I mean,
yeah, but they were underground. They were under a rock.
I mean, I don't know, man. I'm getting like 1,000 comments a day. Trust me.
That's like, now, not 2-3 years ago.
I mean, it's always been a thing.
Yeah, even 2 or 3 years ago, I'll say that
they weren't as vocal.
I see quite a few people post about how the original Xbox One and even the original PlayStation 4.
I didn't say there wasn't one guy. Now you got half the comment section full of them. It was never like that. Trust me, it wasn't.
No. Hold on. Let me say this real quick. It's not totally Microsoft's fault, right? A lot of these PC dudes are super insecure because they're the ones claiming they have these great rigs, but their rigs are going to get beat out by the X. That's the problem. They're fucking jealous, and that's 100% what it is. Not the high end guys. The high end guys are gonna have high end shit.
Right,
they're fine. They're gonna be okay. But here's the thing: very few of these high end guys actually give a shit. You know what I mean? Because they're so content with what they have. It's the ones with the low end to mid range stuff that the Xbox One X is a better value and better than their PCs. Those are the fucking ones that are so pissed off that they're in the comment section. They're the ones that message on Twitter and that are like, PC Master Race crap, 60 frames. Good luck with 15 frames crap. And you know what I mean? Like those are the ones that are flipping the fuck out.
15 frames is for them on PC.
Exactly. And just look at Sea of Thieves, right? They just come out today and said they're going to have a 540p 15 frames per second mode for PC because those PC guys said that's fun. You know what I mean? Like I blow my mind boggles. I would, as a console gamer, if I had to play a game at 540p 15 frames per second, I would just say no. You know, that's horrible.
Look, that's the main problem, right? Like there's there's the number of people who are on those low to mid range outnumbers those people who are on the decent range systems like 8 to 1, you know, like or even worse.
Easily,
yeah. Like I mean, so the fact of the matter is, a lot of it is that people are scared of that. I can see maybe a few of the higher end people or like the upper end of the mid range people being a little bit upset because they could potentially take away from their user bases for any kind of online games. But otherwise, like
that, we got a lot of PC trolls kind of hovering into the chat tonight, you know, bringing in their master race logic, so to speak. Well, you know what I find really funny, guys, is how a lot of the PC guys, the elitists, they'll go out and spend their $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 on a fucking rig and then pirate all the goddamn software. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not helping the friggin' industry none. The only thing you're helping is your ego, and you constantly got to stroke it by joining the chat rooms and going on with your fucking hypocrisy all the friggin' time. So take your shit elsewhere. Go play your superior fucking god rig or whatever the hell it is you got going on there. You know what I mean? And just leave us the fuck alone. We're console gamers. We don't want your mouse, keyboard, and your fucking bullshit settings and all
these fucking people that are flooding anyways probably are running shit ass systems anyways.
Yeah.
No.
Hey,
fucking
dude,
pirate.
I wouldn't say that most people pirate the games, especially now. I wouldn't make a statement like that. But yeah, I mean, if you just, you know, there ain't no reason. I mean, I guess you're supporting the show, so it is what it is. Keep watching, but just know that nobody here gives a fuck what you're saying.
Dealer, here's the thing. Though. Somebody was in my mentions telling me that they could just run a non-verified version of Windows to save money.
Oh,
right? They're like, you don't even need to get
you can
Windows.
build a fucking computer case made out of grilled cheese too to save some money.
Exactly. So that's the kind of board. Like I had someone message me this yesterday, and like I couldn't believe it. This was like this is the type of retarded shit I get on my timeline, and I've added
even
you
with
sometimes.
That fucking free copy of Windows, you're still not at $500.
I've added you. Like some of the people are like, you're crap. Like I have. Like I told you, that's a legit thing that people come at me with. I'm mystified as what the fuck they're thinking when they come at me with that, because it really shows that they lack intelligence.
It took them all week to come up with that, bro.
Exactly. So this guy's like, Xbox One X is redundant. All you need is a PS4, a PC, and a Switch, right? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, that's all you need. Nobody even needs an X. And I'm like, how about if you're just a console gamer and don't want to play on PC? And he's like, it's redundant. There's no exclusives. And I'm like,
your argument's redundant. You fraud.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, how about if you want to play the best multiplats? Well, you know, it's redundant because that's what the PC's for. So no matter what I said, like this guy was basically begging people on my timeline not to buy an Xbox One X. Like, you got people literally begging not to buy this thing.
I've never seen people get so up in arms over a box, basically, right? Like, if look, if I was a PC dude, like so into it that's all I played on 100% of the time or 99% of the time, that's what I would be fucking content with, right? I wouldn't be sitting there being like, oh, your console sucks, whatever. That's it.
It's the same people talking about fanboys, but then when somebody says, oh, I just prefer a console, they're like blown the fuck away because they're such a fanboy of the PC platform, even though a lot of us here have both. And like, hey, I get why people like PC, but I myself like console, and I understand why people like console. Or they're unable to do that. Like, they don't even own a console. They can't even understand that. So they're the fanboys. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, like, I always get that shit too, right? Where people are like, man, Crap's such a fucking fanboy. He's a corporate slave. He's this, he's that. And then you look at their fucking feed, and it's all PlayStation shit and all like fucking Photoshop stuff of Phil Spencer. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, call me the fanboy. And then you look at yourself for once. I can at least admit that I'm a fucking fanboy. I prefer Xbox because it's the goddamn best box, and that's the bottom line. You know, like that. I'm not ashamed of that. Like, I've always been a fucking just the Xbox is better. You play the PlayStation 4, you feel like you can't wait to get the fuck off there. I'm not saying that there's not some decent games for that, but at the end of the day,
it's not for you, you know?
Exactly. It's not for me. And people just have a hard time fucking believing that. They're like, oh, you got to just be fucking full of shit or whatever. You know, and for me personally, I'm not. It's just if I like something on PlayStation, I'll play it. If I don't, then I won't. But especially when it comes to, like, I'm very caught up in the ecosystem. Maybe not as much as Rand because he's got over 1 million gamer score, but that's where I want to play my multiplat. So I'm happy that the X is here because it was kind of shitty, just like it was shitty last gen if you were a PS3 player and you had to play those terrible multiplats on that. Like, it wasn't as bad because our multiplats weren't shitty that bad anyway, like unplayable, like Skyrim and some of those other games on the PS3. But still, having the worst multiplats kind of sucks. You know, so I'm happy that we're going to be able to play the best multiplats again. And
at least you're able to admit that instead of changing the fucking narrative. So
yeah, I'm happy. You know what I mean? Like, I stuck with Xbox when it had some of the worst versions, but it didn't mean that they were terrible versions, just worse than the PS4 versions. And you know, that kind of sucks.
I mean, people are weird, dude. Like in that video I made yesterday about, you know, the X versus the high-end PC. Right, just one man's opinion. That's all my videos are, just my opinion. Right? I still get people that come in there and be like, "You hate Xbox." The poison my mind, and I'm like, I haven't turned on my PS4, and you can go check. Like, I haven't turned it on in a week and a half. Like, I'm incredibly busy with like schoolwork and like the games that I am like, you know, have a responsibility to review, like Killing Floor 2, which I put on my review today for it. Like, I just don't have time right now to enjoy Uncharted 4. I will. And he's, you know, there in my comments, like, where's my Uncharted 4 review? Where's my Horizon Dawn review? Where's my Until Dawn review? And it's like, I'm one person. There are 24 hours in the day. I don't have fucking, like, I don't do this for a living. I'm not like, you know, Rich at Review Tech USA or PewDiePie or somebody. Like, I have to do other things. I can't just focus on it 24/7. It would be fun, but I can't. But these people are just like you hate Xbox. No, because I'm on it all the time. Like, that's my system I prefer.
Yeah, give him a break. He's not some trophy whore.
You're poisoned by PlayStation.
Why do people worry about what other men on the internet like feel and think so much anyway? I'm just
because we all have feelings and we all think something.
Hey, maybe. Hey, I get it. Maybe that's who they were trying to put Ori 2 towards.
Even Rand didn't cry over that shit. Come on, man.
They're trying to say all those people who
the only people that cried at the Ori 2 reveal were the motherfuckers that know they have to get every achievement, that hard-ass fucking game. So the only people that's going to cry.
It's another thing. Like, internet reactions, right? I don't trust those because those have to be played up, right? If you're just sitting there watching a trailer on TV and you're just like,
yeah.
Oh, it's a good trailer. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Like, nobody's gonna watch, so you got to be like, oh my god, and you got to fake the tears, so you get people to watch, so you get it in the search algorithm and stuff. Like, honestly, when you guys watch trailers, whether at the movie theater or on your computer, and you watch some of these reactors on YouTube, you know, like that, like Tyrone Magnus and people like that, are you like fucking clapping like, holy shit, did you see fucking Spider? Oh my god, this is the most, it's so amazing. Oh, look at that. So, do that? Or is it just these people on YouTube that do that stuff? Or am I crazy?
I think it's just like YouTube. They're just they got to be faking that shit a little bit, right? I mean that. I mean,
Mooch, come on. Do you go crazy when you watch a trailer for like Godfather or something? You go crazy?
Not really.
He's like, look, he's saying this is the part where he's like, I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. Oh my god.
The most exciting thing I see for a trailer is when, like, whether it be a movie or a game is, and that's a valid question. The times where I'm like, holy shit, I didn't see that come. Like when they truly kept something under wraps, and then all of a sudden they come out with it, and you're like, holy shit, I did not see that coming. That's pretty exciting. But like if it's something you knew, like we knew Ori 2 was coming down the pipe, to sit there and say people were lighting a match and passing out. Like, nobody was doing that in the fucking audience.
Or like the Thrones reactions where everybody's like,
I know. Remember that one? Oh, Jamie Moran's got to be listening to the show. Jamie, please tweet out that one that you have of, oh, God, I can't remember what it is now. They're not in business. Game trailers. When they found out that Shenmue 3 was coming.
Yeah, where they all fucking flip out.
They're all flipping out like they flip a desk over almost. They're all jumping
like,
around.
holy shit, Sony for the fucking win. We love
Sony
Sony
for the
so
win.
much.
Sony for the win.
Yes,
And it's like,
yes.
Brag like that if I won that Powerball, $720 million. I'd probably just sit there and be like, awesome. I would, you know?
Yeah. Like, hey, you know what I do? I'd be like, hey, Microsoft, let me fund a fucking game for you for a change. Jesus Christ, here you go.
And they're going to be like, it's a sequel to Disneyland Adventures 2.
No, something different, something like new. I'd be like, here's a 50 million, make something, you know, like fucking do it.
Star Wars, but
no, without the connect.
Well, hey,
Yeah.
fiddly diddly. I think the last time I cried, I had to cry when I was watching Game of Thrones because honestly, guys, I felt really sorry for Hodor because I think he was the only bastard in the whole fucking show that didn't get laid, even by his own sister or his mother, whoever. That makes me cry.
Cletus, I've never even seen that show, so your joke went over my head. Who the hell is Hodor? I have no fucking clue who that
You
is.
get crap to play Destiny 2, but you can't get him to watch Game of Thrones.
I listen, I'm trying, man. The fact crap is the most like non-characteristic of a gamer there is out there. Like we all watch Game of Thrones, we all watch like Walking Dead, we all like all these games, and then crap's I don't know, crap watches Simpsons and plays hashtag fun games.
Hey, no, here's the thing. I watched The Walking Dead up until the point where there was that one season in season 5 where him and the governor just sitting at the fucking table for the whole show. And I was like, I'm done. I couldn't deal with it. I was like, this shit's boring.
So did you give up on Star Wars when Luke was having fucking dinner with Uncle Tom in the beginning of fucking 4 and that was boring? He said pass the carrots.
My least favorite Star Wars is Star Wars Episode 4. That is my least favorite.
Crapgamer didn't get into Star Wars till Episode 1.
Episode 1 was when I got into Star Wars because I thought the old ones were boring as hell. Now I really appreciate 5 and 6. But 4 is just horrible. I was so glad they remade it with 7. Like, do it right. You know what I mean? Like they remade it with 7, and now I can enjoy it. But for the most part, no. I want to move on a little bit. So Microsoft sends an open invite to Valve, Sony, Nintendo for crossplay. Is this like a Trojan horse deal? Because everybody's like, that's just Microsoft trying to get more people on their shitty network so they can count them as a player. I mean, what's your guys' thoughts on this? Like, personally, I'm cool with it if it's an option. I don't want to be fucking forced to play against people on PC.
Oh, man, you're going to be forced. They're going to be like, Crapgamer detected. Teaming it up against all PC players.
No, I mean, I'm just curious about what everybody thinks about this. I mean, what is your guys' thoughts on this? Who wants to jump in here?
The PUBG creator is pretty adamant that he wants PC players to play with console players, man.
Yeah, he is.
And that's like a no-go. Like, sorry. Like, if you watch PUBG being played, like that, like PC players will have a very huge advantage over Xbox players.
Oh, because how fast you can aim. It's going to make a huge...
I'm sorry, like, some things that make sense, like Sea of Thieves or a cooperative game, like Gears of War Horde mode or whatever, like, if you want to play together, great. But
you will get wrecked on PUBG if you try to play that with a controller against a PC player.
Hey, while we have like over 900 watching, hit the goddamn like button. I would appreciate it as Jamie Moran tweets us that gif of them freaking out on Game Trailers
so
Live.
good. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just want to say this. Like, they're like, okay, so what we're gonna do is enable auto aim for the Xbox, and then we'll take that off for PC. Well, guess what? PC doesn't need auto aim when you're clicking with a fucking mouse. You know, it's pinpoint accurate.
When you're just like, pow, there's your head.
Yeah, like to me, that shit doesn't make sense. You know, like that's a no-go. Here's the funny thing, right? There's your head's gone. Yeah, like that's the bullshit I want to avoid. Like when I'm like, hey, I'm not into that, even though you hear Microsoft push that whole agenda, like make sure that it's an option so you can avoid that shit, because that isn't my idea of fun.
There's enough players. There's going to be enough players on each platform where that is not a necessity. There's no reason to even force that on anyone anyway, right?
Yeah.
But give us an option if you do, right? Because there's always going to be that one or two assholes. I'll beat someone's ass with mouse and keyboard, and they go in there and they get fucking destroyed with no lube, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, I'll turn that off.
Yeah, this isn't a situation where it would probably save that game, right?
What's that?
If you had like crossplay, like this is why I think crossplay would be fun. Is for games like Lawbreakers.
It was 500 active users in the last day.
If you without an Xbox and PlayStation, at least you'd have people to play against, because being held to one platform, eventually that game's going to die off. Yeah. But like this is bigger than Lawbreakers. This is like all kind of mid-range games or whatever. Like the idea of faster matchmaking, better matchmaking, closer matches and stuff is pretty cool. Yeah. And I think it honestly benefits everybody. I think Sony's just I honestly think Sony's waiting for something, because you saw Greenberg say that they're still in negotiations with Sony about something. So Sony's not completely against the idea. I think they want something from Microsoft in return.
Well, did you see it, Rand? The Minecraft thing, they're threatening not to give the PlayStation the update.
Well, it's not even that. I think Sony wants Minecraft VR. I think Microsoft is holding that hostage.
Wow.
Don't do that. We won't give our players updates.
Yeah, we won't give that's true though. They're like, Minecraft was like, hey, we're not going to do the update that Nintendo and Microsoft and the PC and everything else is getting if they don't allow this, right?
Well, because that makes sense, because they're trying to get everything all the meshed together. Phones, Nintendo, Xbox, PC, all that stuff supposed to be meshed together.
Personally, I'm glad you guys are all coming around, but I'm not coming around, okay? I have absolutely no interest in playing against people on PlayStation and PC. Like, who cares? Like, when you're playing a game, do you care if the person you're playing against is on a couch or a fucking fold-out chair? What's the difference? What the fuck? There's plenty of people on the Xbox Live system. There's going to be so many hiccups and glitches and goofball shit going on.
I want to play against people on the PlayStation side just specifically to get my kill death ratio up. I don't know about you.
Listen. Jokes, don't get me wrong, and that's valid, but like, jokes aside, like, literally, it does mean this does nothing for me, the Xbox consumer. Like, nothing at all for me. Why do I care if PlayStation guys are now able to cross-reference into my Call of Duty game? Like, the strange people I'm playing in a lobby on the other side, I don't know where they're from or what they're doing. I know that they're on the Xbox Live, guaranteed works a lot better than any other service online, and that's what I'm paying to be in. And now with this cross thing, you've got to make sure these things talk and they connect and there's problems. No.
Pretty simple, according to developers, though.
It's let's take that piece of shit game. Crackdown was
piece of shit Project Cars 1, right? That game is pretty much dead on both platforms. If they were to have cross-play on that, people that bought that game could still play it online on multiplayer much more effectively than they can now when divided.
Well, that's a good point, because games that might be struggling on one platform or the other, or maybe even on both technically, I mean, if you only got 1,500 on one, 1,500 on another, most of those are able to at least come together. That brings your, technically your user base up to 3,000.
I wasn't kidding when I said Lawbreakers had less than 500 active users yesterday. Yeah. That's the truth. That's the truth.
I know it's the truth.
They had 500 500
So if there was cross-player, there would be 700 people. Like, who gives a shit?
Or 1,400, but I mean,
right? Like, there's no reason to be against it. It's an option.
It's not against it or an option. An option is great when it's something I can use to my benefit. What am I doing with that?
I can give you another example. Forza 7, PC and console sharing online multiplayer. You're going to be able to find more different types of drag type lobbies, whereas before on Forza 6 right now, you can only do one type of drag racing.
Okay, so PC you sold me on. Why PlayStation?
That's what I'm saying. It could be a similar thing with different games.
Why Nintendo Switch?
Well, hold on, but Mooch, you were excited about the idea of playing against Switch people and rocket cars or whatever.
It's a novel idea.
Yeah, you fraud?
It's not a fraud thing.
Mooch is a fraud, guys. Exposed.
All right, well, you guys are assholes. But listen, here's my whole thing. In all honesty, you guys can call me a fraud. My point is that you're not answering my question. Why do I want to play with PlayStation people?
Well, to destroy them. But
I don't know if they are, though. It's not like they're going to show up with a little Yoshida head on their fucking character.
Maybe on the leaderboards, right? They have like a PlayStation controller next to their name and an Xbox controller for whoever's on Xbox. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Mooch, imagine we were having this conversation, but it was about backwards compatibility, and everybody here was for it, but I was against it. And I'd be like, well, because it doesn't do anything for me because I'm not going to use it.
Oh, man. Yep. Destroyed.
No, backwards compatibility is something I can use. Yeah, it's something for me.
You said you see no benefit to crossplay. Right. I see no benefit to backwards
compatibility. Okay, what is it?
Same thing.
You don't see no benefit to backwards compatibility. No. You can't put a 360 disc in and use it? Does it matter if you don't? I didn't say I don't want to. I said, what benefit does it do me?
He's just saying.
That's not a good analogy. That's not a good analogy.
That's his point. Is you're one person, and just because it doesn't benefit you,
you're one person, and Crap's one person. Tell me again. What benefit does it do you to play a PlayStation?
We're trying to tell you.
You're not telling me.
Because I can't, because you don't shut up. I'm trying to tell you that he's telling you that you're one person, and just because in his example, backwards compatibility.
That's not an answer.
It is an answer. But
no, it's not. I said to you, what do you get out of playing a PlayStation person? And you're like, you're a person. That's not
no one said that. No one said that at all. I think you're
okay. So what is it? Then answer the question. What do you get out of it? You haven't answered yet.
The witness.
Bragging rights.
He's badgering the question. All right, okay, answer the question.
He's not. You don't have it. You don't have an answer. That's my point.
We do have answers.
What is it?
Everybody has their own preference. If people want to play with their friends on PlayStation, they fucking can.
They can play with their friends on PlayStation. If they're their friends, they have it on the same console.
Mooch, just stop.
No, you stop. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Let me just say this. This is where it could help, right? Like, let's take Star Wars Battlefront 1 for example, right?
Right.
That game is a fun game. But there's not.
You guys are the frauds. You guys all just said a few minutes ago. You guys no. Let me finish. You guys said fraud. You guys are all frauds. A couple minutes ago, you were like, "Well, I put on my PS4 and then I can't wait to get off it because I don't know anybody on there. I don't do anything there." Now you're like, I have friends and no. You guys are frauds. That's fraud. Get out of here. You guys all just said you're never on your PS4 because there's nobody on it. You know, and now you're like, "I'll play with my friends." And they're not here.
I'm not playing with my friends on PS4.
Fraud.
We're just saying maybe it doesn't appeal to you because of that stuff, right? But it does appeal to somebody, right?
Fraud.
It does appeal to somebody.
Fraud. Well,
hold on.
For you, Mooch, I get it. I don't know really many benefits at all. I mean, essentially, from my perspective, for a lot of guys, it's just bragging rights. It's not a whole lot more than that. But here's one other good thing. Here's a nice side to it. Is that it essentially too can help sell copies of games? Because let's just say little Timmy down the street, he's got his Xbox and he's been bragging about such and such a game for so long, and his buddy, Tommy, is next door. Well, he's got the PlayStation, but right now he doesn't have the money. He can't buy an Xbox, or maybe he just has no intention to buy one for a while. But he might go out now and buy the game because Timmy's like, "Hey, Tommy, we can play this game together now. We can actually take each other on. It's pretty cool." You know what I mean?
I'll give you that.
I don't know if it's just multiplayer, but maybe if they ever had co-op mode.
At least you gave me thank you for giving me an answer besides, Mooch, you're one man in the consensus of the United States of America.
Yes, that's fine. Okay. Told you that people could play together.
But he gave me a real example because you guys are always using the hardcore.
I didn't know we had to spell it out. Like, okay, his name's Timmy, Mooch. All right, you got that?
Yeah. Okay. Hey, give me an answer. You're one man. You're one man.
Well, no. What I was saying, Mooch, was this, right? Like, say it would actually be beneficial to some games that don't have huge online communities, like on one platform or the other. So, like Battlefront 2, for example, or Battlefront 1. I mean, you can play that, but there's not a ton of people on that online right now, right? So being able to possibly play against some PlayStation 4 people as well,
hey, listen,
I
you
think
guys
would be beneficial.
Knock yourselves out, man. You guys are these are great scenarios. These are also awesome. I can't wait till you guys come out with your first science fiction book. Listen, a lot of this stuff is not going to happen. None of it's coming to fruition. You'll never know the other person is on the PlayStation unless they actually put a PS sign over the guy's name, which they're not going to do.
You'll know when they suck. You'll be like, that's a PlayStation guy.
When you hear how bad their mic sounds.
You guys tell more stories than Teddy Ruxpin. You guys tell more stories than Teddy Ruxpin. Well, in the scenario, I mean, at least Noof gave a story. I don't even think that's realistic, but at least it was a story. My whole thing is this: you guys are all asking for crossplay. I get the PC thing and the mods and things like that. If that's all going to open up, I'm with you, okay? But the whole PlayStation thing, that's just it doesn't benefit me as an Xbox Live member. It just doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah. Compatibility doesn't benefit me. So I don't want it. I'd rather Microsoft fix something.
But it doesn't. It does help you because you've actually played a back compat game.
No, I haven't.
You've never put a 360 game into your. Never.
Why would I want to? Why would I want?
You haven't played anything at all since back compat's been available.
Why would I want to?
You're also a guy who's got you've played every game. That's also.
We're both giving our singular opinions about something and saying this is how it should be for everybody else. which is my point.
But but that isn't the. I don't know how to explain it to you guys. Listen, I'll say it one more time. Okay, Rand does not want back compat, everybody. Rand does not want it because he's played every game. Okay, so he's got it. Okay, great. But the point of the matter is that ability, that ability gives me or anyone else the ability to put a disc in from 360 and play it. Rand's already played it. Okay, now back cross-play with PlayStation. I can't do that today. I get on. I put on Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. There's 55,000 people in the lobby. Now I get on, and there's 75,000 people in the lot. Who cares? It doesn't mean anything to me. My point is, Rand doesn't like back and pack because he's played the game. Okay, that's a him problem. The thing is what do I get, or anyone else that's pro? I've asked this a million times. What do you get, the hardcore player? What does the hardcore player, not Timmy down the street, not Johnny who's 9, what does the hardcore player get when he goes on and gets to play against a PlayStation person in a Call of Duty match when there's already 100,000 people in the fucking lobby?
They get better KD. They get shittier players.
But you don't know that. That doesn't make any sense. That does not make any sense. No, it doesn't.
They're playing with the fucking worst controller.
Crap, that's not a... Come on, listen to what you're saying, and you guys are all like, Mooch, calm down. Give me a break. That doesn't make any sense.
I already gave,
it would be awesome for you,
Mooch. You an example as to why it would be beneficial, but even then,
you gave me a good example with the PC. And I said, okay, yes.
Here's a really good one for Mooch. Mooch got a family. He's got kids. Well, his wife goes away now. They can take the Switch, and maybe they say, "Hey, Dad, let's play a game of Minecraft together." I know that's not probably your game, but I'm sure you know to have the interaction to be able to play cross-play on a Switch to an Xbox with your kids. That would be pretty cool, right? You got to.
Why do you even argue about it? It's an option. Who gives a fuck?
Loves Minecraft, by the way. Absolutely loves Minecraft.
I'm not saying I don't want it. I'm saying everyone's begging for it, and I'm asking why. I can ask why, right?
Who's begging for it?
The media, the internet, everybody, you guys are saying it's great.
No one.
I'm not begging for it. I'm saying it's an option.
Crab says it was good. You're like, it's cool. If you're saying it's cool, then you kind of want it, right?
No, I mean that's far from begging. Just so you know. Secondly, if it's an option, they can do it like rocket cars or whatever the fuck it's called, right? It's literally a flip of a switch. It's literally a flip of a switch, meaning it's easy as fuck to do. If that's the case, then hey, why not?
I say as long as it's an optional thing, I have no problem with it. The problem is for Sony, they're of the belief that if people can play against the PlayStation 4 gamers on an Xbox, that those people won't go buy a fucking PlayStation 4, which is fucking ludicrous because it's not going to make people go, oh shit, now I'm not going to buy a PS4. Like, it's not. It's just going to give you some goodwill. Unfortunately, Microsoft is Microsoft, and so anything they do doesn't get them goodwill. They could fucking do anything.
Someone made a good point in the chat. This does nothing for live users. If anything, it only happens to help Sony people. Because Sony doesn't have anybody on multiplayer.
That are saying in the chat that, hey, yeah, it sounds cool. What's the harm?
There is no harm. I'm not. See, you're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say there's any harm. I didn't. I asked you guys for good reasons, and when I asked you, you gave me a consensus issue, and somebody else told me about 3 little kids down the street. That's fine. That's not what I'm asking. Hardcore. This is a hardcore gamer show. People that are in the chat are not 9 and 10. They're not Timmy down the road. They don't have Switch and an Xbox, and they want to play with their dad later tonight. These people are asking hardcore questions. What I'm saying to you is, it's a legitimate question. I'm not saying I don't want it. I'm saying, what's the benefit to an Xbox Live member?
I mean, you can sit there and give out, different benefits, just like the same thing. I mean, it's right. Like, I know a lot of people in person, like personally that I know that aren't Xbox people, right? They play on PlayStation
we all do.
all day,
right?
And so the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to go out and buy Call of Duty for PlayStation to go play that shit and be out the money for 2 different copies of that damn game.
I mean,
if I had the option,
that's a valid issue. But here's my thing: I don't know where you guys all grew up, but like the guys that I call my friends that we game all the time. The reason I didn't buy Destiny, I have a PS4 Pro. All my friends are on Xbox One playing Destiny. I know that there's some guy that I know somewhere that is playing Destiny somehow on the PS4. I'm not going to reach out to that human being and be like, hello, how are you? No, I'm not going to fucking do that, bro. Like, I'm going to be like, dude, I'm playing with my... You guys are always like, your friend who has another console and doesn't have the game you have, that's not your friend. Who the fuck is this person?
We get it, we get it, Moose.
Yeah, I know you get it. You get that I make a good point.
You don't have a personal use for it, so no one else should have it either.
No, here he goes again. Fraud. Dealers are fraud. Can't handle it. Fraud.
That's all I'm hearing.
Fraud.
He'll be on this all night.
All right, let's take some. I never said once I don't want it, so I don't think people should have it. I asked, why would you have it? And when I give a good counter, you're like, fraud. All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
I haven't laughed this much since we talked about soccer cars way back.
If I could breathe, okay.
Let's move on because you can't ask why. You guys are becoming IGN. Can't ask why anymore. Okay, go ahead. Because we said so, Mooch. Okay, it's not about you. Fraud. All right, let's go on. Let's move on. All right, let's go. Let's move on. Let's move on. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I will never ask why on Xbox Nation.
Mine's just every answer we give you. You always got some crazy shit with.
I'm trying to keep a talk show going. Go ahead. It's a talk show. Crap. Next topic.
I'm trying to. Okay.
It's cool. Don't worry. Go to the next topic.
Okay. So yeah, how about that Xbox One X, the fastest selling pre-orders in the history, right? Like
ever.
Yeah, they are. Next topic. No. Next topic. Why are you talking? Why is folks talking? It's a talk show.
No, hold on. I'm just saying. Like there's a lot of spin to this. I kind of want to hear what Rand has to say on this because Rand is like one of those dudes that probably agrees that it's not a big deal. Like Rand, what do you think about this? Like, is it a big deal? Because a lot of the media is saying not a big deal. Who cares?
I mean it's it's kind of a big deal, but I don't know how much importance to put on it without having any numbers attached to it. You know, like pre-orders. You know, when the original Xbox One come out, weren't as like they don't do a lot of pre-orders back then than as they do now. So you're only really comparing like the 360, the One, and the One X. I mean, it's good to know, like, hey, a lot of people seem to want this system, but like as far as like how impactful it is, well, we don't know because Microsoft doesn't give any numbers. I mean, if they would have came out and said we sold 1 million pre-orders already, you'd be like, holy shit, that's amazing. The X is gonna be fucking awesome. But like without any numbers, it's kind of just words. You know what I mean?
Can we take that and compare it to previous pre-orders, right? Like the original Xbox One?
I mean, do we know how many pre-orders
that did 1 million in the first 7 days? I think
they were vocal in the first week.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we have really nothing to compare it to. Like, how many of those were pre-orders? You know, like, there's no.
I think what I think we can compare it to is the Switch because we've heard from retailers like they got 8 to 15 on average, which is about what the Switch had.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But this is doing it at $500, not $300, right?
Yeah, but even if like we know who the system before, even though like Verge and all these gaming outlets, it's like, well, I don't know who the Xbox One X is for. I'm stumped. Like we all knew who the
well, they're all idiots. That's why they don't know.
The hardcore Xbox fan that wanted a better system, and they're going to get that system. I can't wait to get mine on November 7th. Hell, I hope I can fucking win it from Taco Bell, and I'll I'll go there and I'll buy it and I'll throw the.
Well, the reason that Microsoft's not putting the number out, though, let's think about this for a second. These pre-orders are IOUs, right? They're just hands up. They're like it's like being an auctioneer with one of those paddles. You know, for 250, 350, 354. You put your arm up. The guy next to you beats you by 1 second. My point is that these numbers don't count. So Microsoft can't say, "Hey, look, we've got 3 million pre-orders," and then all of a sudden, like Crap did it with the PS4 Pro by accident. He actually took it. He pre-ordered it. He was going to cancel it. So like you can cancel. You don't put any money down.
I have a couple pre-ordered right now, so it depends.
Well, that's why they may not want to mention the numbers. My point.
I had to put money down on mine, and Amazon changed their policy, and now are making people put money down.
Are they?
Amazon, yeah.
That's a good move.
I think that it's a good thing. I mean, people try to the fucking the Pro. It's getting more pre-orders than the Pro did by all accounts. The Pro didn't sell out in 25 fucking minutes. So this is doing very well, and people try to downplay it. We don't need no fucking numbers. Just know that it's doing very well. It says the best pre-orders of all time. 25 minutes.
But a rough guess, though, guys, you'd have to say it's in the ballpark of maybe 500,000 to maybe almost 1 million, wouldn't you? Because it's launching in the U.S., it's launching in Canada, it's launching where else? In Australia, parts of Europe. Isn't it also launching overseas in like China or Japan or something?
It's launching in 28 territories compared to 13 that the original Xbox One launched in. So
right.
They definitely have more territories and things like that. Again, so a lot of people were wondering maybe how many, because they originally were supposed to have enough for 7 to 10 days, and they sold out in like 1 day.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of places within 5 minutes in Germany or whatever the hell it was like some insane number, and that's usually a place that's not really heavy Xbox. So that to me was super interesting. But I do kind of agree with Mooch, a little bit with Rand too. Like, here's the thing: they didn't announce numbers, but I also don't think that it's bad. Like the media was just like Terrible Tom was like, "This means nothing, absolutely nothing.
Right.
It's just PR spin. Microsoft, nothing."
That's the other end of the equation. Yeah, that's not fair either. I mean, to say that people went out in droves. I mean, I went to my GameStop. I'm sure you guys did the same. I don't know if you did it right after the announcement during Gamescom or you went shortly thereafter the next day. But when I went there was people already there. And, I got the number, I think there was 14 Project Scorpio editions. Yeah. And 5 or 6 people were already in line. Like, I mean,
I went right after I got out of work, which was at 4:30 that day. And so I had originally thought that GameStop closed at 5 because I talked to them like a few weeks prior to that. And for some reason on Sunday, they closed at 5. So I was like, all right, I got like 30 minutes to get there, go get this pre-ordered. So I call them first, and they actually didn't even have the pre-orders up available. And they're actually up until 6.
Similar issue. He called them, and they said they didn't have them available, and then he went there, and they were available.
Yeah, that's what I did. I got there, and then I walked around the store for a little bit. The guy was like, yeah, they're not available yet. And I was like, all right. So I stepped outside for a minute and goes like a couple stores down there to get something to drink, and the guy comes running out of the store. He's like, they're up. He's like, if you want to carry a pre-order them, and I was like, hell yeah, I do.
Came running out of the store. He's like, come back.
Well, I mean, because there was already people there. I mean, there was already 2 or 3 or 4 people there.
Yeah,
I was first in line, technically.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I mean, people are pretty diehard about this. Like, I mean, most people that are saying they bought one, they've either plunked all the money down or they put a good chunk of money down. And based on the enthusiasm I hear from this panel and people right across the internet and throughout the chat rooms, this doesn't sound like an item people are like, I think I'm just going to get one. What the hell? I got 500.
I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence about it.
Yeah, there's nobody on the fence on this thing. If you are, I think you're a bloody idiot. I mean, it should be you want it or you don't. You know what I mean? But here's the other thing, like even if 80% of the entire pre-orders actually like sell through, I mean, I'd still say that's a pretty solid number, something they're quite happy with. And I don't think they're going to have trouble selling the ones that may say go back into inventory, especially being Scorpio editions. And I think according to an EB Games live chat today, it looks like the regular edition pre-orders will go up sometime in or late middle of next month, I think.
Next month, yeah, the middle of next month, they said. So, like, hopefully they don't lose a lot of, a lot of ground.
I think that's the one that you need to look out for. How quickly does the regular edition of the Xbox One X sell out? Because you knew, like, the Scorpio edition, the one after Gamescom, was going to go fast because everybody and all the hardcore Xbox fans were going to get it. Like, if the regular edition comes out and that shit still is like sold out in a day, then Microsoft may be onto something well beyond just November and December into 2018. But because I mean, imagine a scenario where those come out, but those never sell out of pre-orders. And then the media, Luke's favorite subject, the media, will come and be like, what's wrong with the Xbox One X? Can't even sell out the pre-orders. Something must be wrong in Redmond. I already see the headline.
I think there are a lot of people on the fence, believe it or not, and that's because some people still think it might just be another Pro. And while it'll offer everything the Pro does, it'll offer quite a bit more as well. Yeah. And people are going to have to see that before they make up their mind. They don't want to get duped again.
And that's what Microsoft's banking on, right? They're banking on the fact that you take this console home, your friend sees it, and then that friend says, hey, this actually looks good. Maybe I will pick that up. They're really hoping for that.
You got to quote a pretty cool guy when he says, don't pre-order this bitch until you see the games.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to, and now we're seeing it.
that's tremendous faith in their product. And listen, there's reason for that faith. They know Microsoft's very quiet. So the fact that this is doing that, Digital Foundry showing it now, that's a big deal. I mean, this system is that and then some. The question is how long will the X remain the most powerful console? I'm just hoping that Phil and his team, when I'm more concerned about the next generation rate, and I hate to think out like that because I know you guys, nobody really wants to talk about next generation already, but Sony's talking about it, the Sony fans are talking about it. We have to talk about it a little bit. Like I hope this isn't a 3-year bump in the road where we get this like lead and then all of a sudden Sony comes out smashing way stronger than the next iteration. I don't think that'll happen. I really truly don't, especially with Mike and Phil behind the wheel.
Why would Sony guys be talking about is they don't care about graphics anymore.
Right.
For one, and secondly, 3 more years.
They're frauds.
3 more years till PS5, and that's pretty much been almost this entire generation. So it's much longer than it sounds.
Right. I mean, 2020 sounds right for next gen, right, guys? Are you guys all on that page?
2021,
fall,
2020,
end of
something,
20.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I mean, that's 7 years, guys. I mean, that's a full 7-year cycle. Does that mean they can't go 8? No, it doesn't mean that at all. But I mean, I think it would depend on. For Sony, it really comes down to the success. I can't believe I'm saying this. The success of the X. If X starts kicking ass and taking names, Sony's not going to sit there and just keep. Yes, they have a big lead right now. But nobody wants to go from 2 to 1 to fucking, it's starting to nip on your bud, It's
for
not...
Microsoft right now, it's about carrying momentum into the next gen. You know what I mean? Like they want to go in with a buzz. So when that next console drops, it isn't a question mark anymore about which console should I want. It's going to be like, man, if the X was this fucking good, let's get that next Xbox. You know what I mean?
That's a really good point. As I want to do one more topic, which is actually something positive about PlayStation. Their PlayStation Plus games for next month are actually pretty good.
What they announced?
It's Infamous Second Son on PS4,
Nice.
Child of Light, and Riggs on PSVR.
Stop it!
They got
Really?
Riggs.
Yeah, Riggs.
I'm gonna have Riggs.
You're gonna have Riggs. You got Riggs. I mean, hell, I'm just saying that's a really cool lineup.
I don't have Infamous either.
I'm gonna have Riggs.
I'm gonna have Riggs.
I thought that was the wrong list though, because they updated it late.
Did they? I saw the IGN list that it's still Infamous.
They made a video montage of all the gameplay from those games.
It was like Infamous Second Son, Strike Force X. I didn't say anything about Child of Light. I'm gonna go to.
Oh, okay. Well, originally it was Child of Light, but you're right. You might be right with.
I have Child of Light on Xbox.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, hold on.
There's extra grass on the PlayStation version.
Okay, so it's Strike Vector X, Infamous Second Son, and Riggs.
No, you still get Riggs, Mooch.
But getting Riggs and Infamous that's huge for. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Some of the games that I thought were really enticing, if you were gonna pick up a PS4, they have ultimately given now on PS Plus, which is pretty cool. I mean, I think that's neat. I got I can't even remember the last 2 games because I don't ever really play it. But Killing Floor 2, I saw Rand's review. Rand, I think you said basically it's a reenactment of the Call of Duty zombies.
Yeah, I mean it's basically Call of Duty Zombies mode, but no Easter egg. It's just mindless, killing fun, I guess.
I mean, how many people can play in a multiplayer game?
You can have 6 people in co-op. I think a little bit more in the versus mode, but I didn't really try that mode out.
And I know nothing about it, but just going by your video and the way you were explaining it, plus the footage you put on there, it looked more to me almost like a non-story based version of like Left 4 Dead 2. Yeah,
there's no story,
right? It's just you guys just mowing zombies down.
The character, you start, and here come the Zeds, and they're trying to eat your face off, and you just gotta blow the brains out. Bloop.
Nice.
So here's what it says. Here's a
That's
bonus
cool.
for PSVR owners. PlayStation Plus members in the U.S. and Canada also get Riggs Mechanized Combat League as a free bonus game from September 5th through November 7th. It's a first-person arena-based shooter. So you get that through November 7th. Holy shit. Okay, so basically what they're trying to do is this. Maybe you guys didn't notice. They lowered the price of PSVR. They also include a camera in with the base headset now. Right?
Yeah, so it's $350 with the camera.
Yeah.
That's
so
$100 right there, isn't it? The camera?
No, $399, right? $399.
Dealer's asking how much the camera I think is
the camera's
$60,
like $59
right?
or something like that.
$60.
Yeah. So they cut off the price of that. So they're trying to push PSVR a little bit more and give people an incentive to buy it. And then hey, you get this free game, which Riggs is cool. I got motion sick off of it. So I mean, kind of is what it is. But with that, we hit 2 hours. Everybody hit that like button. Let me start doing some outros. Mooch, he's calmed down.
Yes.
He's fine.
Yes.
We got
I just
a
took
lot
some
of
smelling salts. Yeah.
Yes, we've got a lot of cool shit planned this week. So yeah,
we do have a full week. We got a great week coming up. Yeah, Crossfire 7 o'clock Friday night. Got a special guest lined up, which should be very cool. We're gonna have to have Dealer come on just for the hell of it, right? Dealer.
Oh yeah, put on another show.
Let's put a show on, buddy.
Let's do people in the
Dealer,
chat, as we always gotta say in the chat, guys. It's just a show, guys.
It's just a show, fellas. Yeah, I was gonna say we gotta say that, Dealer, right?
Yeah,
we Dealer and Mooch with hit Broadway, the fraud show.
We meet street with nunchucks and ninja stars.
Yes.
No, I like stuff like this. I like coming on and having a discussion. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and a lot of them are great. Even Crossfire myself, sometimes I'll re-listen, and you get a lot of head nodding. Oh yeah. I like a good discussion. An hour of or 2 hours of I agree with you, Dealer. It's great. Yeah. Let's do this again next week and agree with everything. So I like having a little bit of discussion, right? Yeah. So no, we got a great show lined up for Friday, 7 o'clock, and then we have a revamped new skits, new bunch of stuff. I don't want to give it away for MSC Mornings.
Yeah, MSC Mornings is going to be great. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be.
Tune in.
And we're giving away Fortnite. So if you call in and leave a voicemail.
Yep, another Fortnite giveaway. Yeah.
Yeah, you're registered to win Fortnite on the Xbox One.
And we're streaming this Friday, crap.
Yes, we are streaming, so it's gonna be great. Dealer, congrats on 16,000 subscribers. I saw that on my feed. So congrats to you, man.
Thank you.
What do you got going on? I know you did RDX last night.
Yeah, we did RDX. Southbound joined the crew. You guys know South, the RDX crew. So it was a really good show last night. A little tech heavy, but I'm working on some stuff for next week to get other people a little more involved as well. Working on a video with Colt Eastwood that should release this week. Pretty big video. And other than that, I've got a couple of videos released over the past couple of days. Go over there and check them out, and let me know what you think.
Hell yeah. Hellhammer, you got nothing going on, but I'll let you give people your Twitter name or whatever.
He doesn't want to give the people a Twitter name.
We can't even hear Hellhammer, so that's how lazy he is.
Yeah, he's not too much going on, but I forgot to note my mic was muted. What the fuck? Is this seriously botting again?
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, not too much going on. I'll be back on here next week. Otherwise, you could follow me on Twitter at XXHellhammer or on Xbox Live XXSpaceHellhammer.
Hell yeah. And we got Noof Nukem. What's up? What do you got going on, Noof?
You guys, you know where to find me each and every week. Always in the gutter. No, just kidding. Xbox Nation, what a great show it was again tonight. Make sure you hit that like button before we take off and wrap it all up. But you can always find me on Tuesdays on the console corner with a great crew as well, guys. And I'm overdue to make some more videos on my channel. Got some more stuff coming up. I know Cletus has been missing in action a little bit lately, but he'll be back at it. No doubt about that. And always a good time, guys. Great crew, great panel, great topics, and great laugh tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. I had fun. Catch you all later.
Hell yeah. And Rand, thanks for joining us, man. There was no
Okay.
What the fuck?
What was that?
Guys, this gerbil is chewing on the Ethernet.
Hold on. No. Hold on. You know what that was? I had too many Chrome things open, so my computer locked up for like 2 seconds. Now Hellhammer's mic just fucked up again, so I don't know what's going on. Gerbils all around. Rand, what's going on, man? Do an outro.
All right. In this bitch.
Having me on, Trapgamer. I really appreciated it.
Trap.
I'll, just for some word of advice, whoever wants to win Fortnite, just get that game and delete it or never use it because the game isn't worth the bandwidth.
Come on! You can't throw him under the bus. Come on!
That game under the bus because it's garbage.
If you like
check
rainy,
out my
repetitive games, you might like it.
hashtag fun.
Hashtag fun. Check out my YouTube channel. I hate Xbox. I'm a Sony pony.
Great way to end it.
You heard it here first. He's a Sony pony. But yes, thank you guys all for joining us. We had a great time, good laughs and stuff like that. We'll catch you guys next week. Enjoy. Have a great week. Later.